ready to go. So this is our first look at Arihara, and his first offering a little bit low.
Take a look at the season last year for Arihara in Japan. 20 games pitched. I mentioned it in the open. The innings are really important, 132 of them. So the Rangers feel like there really are no restrictions, which is going to be very important this year. Coming off that shortened season, what do you have not only in your starting rotation, but really throughout your entire staff? And how are you going to get through a full season, 162 games worth of innings, while bringing in a guy that threw a bunch last year certainly helps.
Yeah, that'll be this will be a very interesting one to watch with Arihara. You mentioned 132 innings last year. Now that's almost 50 innings more than Lance Lynn threw last year, and Lance led all of Major League Baseball. So that's a big chunk of innings for a guy relative to what everybody else on the planet was doing during the shutdown, basically, and the abbreviated 2020 season. He gets happed to chase strike two. But on top of it, CJ, is that, I don't know, the legacy of the Japanese pitching style, rotation, whatever timing, pitch once a week in Japan. And that's not how it happens at Major League Baseball. So he may be tested in that way as he gets a ground out of Happ for the first out of the ball game.
Yeah, let's go ahead and take a look at the rest of the defense here for the Texas Rangers this afternoon. You just saw Nick Solak making that play. Well, it's David Dahl, Tavares, and Gallo in the outfield left to right. You got Andy Ibanez over at third. Isaiah Kiner-Falefa is your shortstop, not only today, but will be on opening day. Nick Solak at second. Nate Lowe was told that he will be the starting first baseman. Jonah Heim is your catcher. And as we mentioned, Arihara is on the mound. And for Ranger fans getting their first look at him the way that we are today, I'm sure they're curious about the stuff. And he's not a huge strikeout guy. The numbers in Japan last year, the innings, yes, they were important. But you look at his overall season, 7.2 strikeouts per nine. But he has been excellent in the walk category. He is a guy that's going to fill up the strike zone. That's going to be really important. It always is. But I think especially for a guy that comes over from Japan, and the ability to fill up the strike zone will be key. He's got a really good two-seamer, turns his changeup over really well. We've already seen a couple of those two-seam fastballs with some good movement. He's got a pretty good slider, split finger as well. The thing he's working on, which almost seems odd to some degree, I think, for a baseball fan and certainly for pitchers, he's trying to figure out a way to make sure that his four-seam fastball stays straight. Like sometimes you think a straight fastball will get you in trouble, but he is working on trying to keep that thing straight where it doesn't have much movement, so it'll look different than his two-seamer. That's been one of the goals of spring training in the process of also adjusting to Major League Baseball, which there are a lot of adjustments there.
So wait a minute, what would his four-seam be doing if it's moving? We know
some natural run.
Okay.
Right. Usually that's a lefty problem. Right. Left-handers will have that issue where, especially when they're younger, they'll have some natural tail, which seemed like kind of a good thing, get a little bit of movement on your fastball. But in this day and age, especially in the big leagues, we see the elevated fastballs that happen in the game. You prefer that pitch stay straight, right? If you're trying to go up and in or in at the belt, you don't want that pitch to run back. Say he's trying to go into a lefty. You want it to stay there. You don't want a little bit of movement. All of a sudden, it's in the middle of the plate.
Another foul ball off the bat of Nico Horner. Numbers last year for Horner, still relatively young player. Graduated from Stanford in 2018, drafted by the Cubs that summer. And he strikes out swinging. So 2 away.
So you see his reaction right there? I can't say for sure what that grip was. It was hard to tell. But there was movement on this pitch. See whether or not it was a four-seam fastball trying to go away. Look at the movement on this. Now, it moved like a two-seamer. Could have been a two-seamer. Hard to say for sure. But as we have the conversation about him trying to straighten out that heater, it might have been an example where he almost looked dissatisfied with that strikeout. Right, which you should always be happy. Even if you miss your spot, take it. But I get where he may have been a little frustrated. He missed a spot, and that ball had some run on it.
All right, so 2 quick outs, and here's Jock Peterson. Yeah, it's a high strike call that time. Well, Peterson leaving the nest, so to say, with the Los Angeles Dodgers. Now his first year with the Cubs. Well, he's sporting the, if it's not exactly the Hunter Pence socks up over the knees thing, it's really close.
Well, he might be there.
Yeah, he's.
It's amazing how short those pants look like that.
They look like shorts.
The old school coach shorts.
Yeah.
Shorts with a belt.
It's a great look. I tell you what, though, baseball and pants these days are in a state of extremes. You either want them all the way down to the ankles and maybe even wrapping underneath the heel of the shoe these days. Or in the case of like Jock Peterson and guys like Hunter Pence and others, you want them way up over the knees. 1 and 2. See?
Yeah.
There you go.
I feel like the kids have gone in the, at least what I'm experiencing at home, not to the knees. They want the knickers. They want the short ones for the most part.
I hope so.
Yeah.
I love that look. It's a bit extreme, but I'm still with it. Ooh, 2 and 2.
Good example there again. One of those things he's working on with the four-seamer, also the ability to elevate it. Now, again, that had a little bit of movement, so that'd be a good question for him later as far as how that fastball is holding up and the ability to keep it straight, right? So think about if he's trying to go up and in right there to a lefty like Jock Peterson, you want that pitch to stay there in case he swings at it.
Another 2-2, and that one's spoiled. It's fun, a laid-back spring training crowd, but you get some pretty candid reactions from the crowd, whether it's a woo from someone or a wow from a dude obviously quite close to our mic. Another swing and a miss. 2 strikeouts in the first inning for Arihara. Very nice beginning this afternoon. Now the Rangers come to bat.
Spring training game telecasts on MLB Network are presented by Taco Bell.
We don't want to overhype the return of the quesalupa from Taco Bell, so we're skipping all the fanfare.
Oh, man.
We'll just tell you, the quesalupa's cheese stuffed shell is back, and we think you'll like it.
Walter, did you know Geico could save you hundreds on car insurance and a whole lot more? So what are you waiting for? World's strongest man, Martins Litzis, to help you break down boxes?
What am I gonna do to you, Box? Let me break it down for you. Oh! You're going down! Down to the recycling center!
Hey, thanks, Martins.
You're welcome.
Geico. Switch today and see all the ways you could save.
New Dove Men deodorant is different. It has 48-hour protection and a plant-based moisturizer that cares for your skin. Odor protection that works. New Dove Men plant-based care.
So you want to make the best burger ever? Then make it. That means cooking day and night until you got paid. That means best burger ever.
Intuit QuickBooks helps small businesses be more successful with payments, payroll, banking, and live bookkeeping. Psst, psst.
Allergies don't have to be scary. Spraying Flonase daily stops your body from overreacting to allergens all season long. Psst, psst, you're good.
Jake Arrieta.
Coming back to the Chicago Cubs, of course, Jake Arrieta, his career really took off when he came over from the Baltimore Orioles, won a Cy Young Award with the Chicago Cubs. Went to Philadelphia for a couple of years. You see what he did last year with them. 9 starts, an ERA over 5. It's mostly two-seam fastball, slider, and changeup from this right-hander. See a curveball every once in a while. The 4-seam fastball velocity sits around 92, and it was a problem last year. That two-seam fastball that he throws a lot of. It's a .402 batting average against that pitch. The slider was good though, just 178.
1-1, and he finds the corner. Pretty well accomplished major league pitchers. You mentioned the Cy Young in 2015, All-Star the next year, and misses away. Local guy, for those of us in the Dallas-Fort Worth metro area, went to Plano High School, and he gets a strikeout of kind of Falefa, one away.
Let's go ahead and take a look at this pitch from Jake Arrieta. Looked like it might have been that slider. You see a little bit of late break to it. Started out a strike, finished off the plate, and Isaiah unfortunately did not pick up.
So his first punch out of the afternoon, and now David Dahl. I'm always amazed the guy, CJ. You know, he was drafted in the 31st round after high school, but decided to go to college. Went to Weatherford Junior College nearby, and then ended up at TCU, as most local fans know and remember. There's a strike to Dahl. I was amazed at guys who pass up being drafted with that confidence that they'll come back around.
I feel like it's the right call. I feel like if you get drafted out of high school, outside, if you have zero desire to go to college, you want to go chase the dream, go chase the dream. But if you are a later round draft pick and there's not much of a signing bonus there, I think you're much better off going to college. Unless, of course, you're also in a situation where maybe you're offered life-changing money or a big enough of a signing bonus where it's something that you have to do or makes sense to do. But if you have that opportunity, I think, to go to college, you should take it. Happens all the time. You'll see guys improve their draft status considerably, and in 3 years, let's just say you go to a 4-year school and you're still good enough to get drafted, you probably will. And if for some reason things go the other way and maybe your draft stock drops a little bit, well, at least you got 3 years of college under your belt too.
Yeah. Well, surely worked out for Jake in the 1-2 pitch off the plate, 2-2. Well, David Dahl, he was really one of the first moves this Rangers team made in the offseason. Adding him to the mix, likely to be the left fielder, is a 2-2. And the guy waiting on deck, Joey Gallo, one of the reasons that he is here. He was more or less recruited by Joey Gallo. Well, batting right next to one another in the lineup, and this one kind of cued toward shortstop. Good backhand play, but nothing there as Dahl beats out an infield hit. Rangers have their first base runner.
Yeah, absolutely no chance to get David Dahl here. He's got a lot of tools, and one of those tools is that he runs pretty well. Now, we didn't hit this ball hard, but he hit it in a really good spot. And was that Nico Horner who was in the shift at second trying to make that play? Appreciate the effort, but he had absolutely no chance at this point, especially after he has to slide like that, spin around, and I guess go ahead and have a little fun in spring training. Now, Nico Horner, by the way, has had a great spring training. As you see David Dahl getting down the line. But it has already been told that he did not make the team.
David Bodie will be the second baseman.
So why not try to make that play? What do you have to lose? Right? You're already going to minor leagues anyway. He had a really good spring. Really unfortunate for him.
Well, amazing. Their numbers, his and David Bodie's, were almost identical offensively. But Bodie was the guy who was named the second baseman, I want to say yesterday, maybe the day before. Gallo got off to a really hot start this spring. He takes in the dirt. 5 home runs in his first 6 games. How about that? 6 games into spring training, had half as many home runs as he had all of last regular season.
Yeah, that's pretty amazing. And we'll keep an eye on Joey this year and some of the things that he has shared with us and talked about in regards to hitting the ball in the air, not as high, not as often as he usually does. Nobody hits it higher than Joey, but he's been working on it. We'll see how it translates once the season starts.
2-1 the count. There's also a lot of talk early in camp about the potential of a new bat and the use of a more balanced bat. I talked to Calix Crabb, Rangers hitting coach, I guess about a week ago, and he said, no, I think it was the last game we did. Last Tuesday was the first game where he actually used it. This one high in the air out to left. Fighting the sun. Oh boy, that's an adventure, and Ian Happ lost it in that sun. And Gallo has a gift single. Boy, that's a helpless feeling.
Well, as I said, Joey Gallo will be working on hitting the ball a little lower, not in this at-bat. And why not? When you're in Arizona, it can really work to your advantage. A very difficult sun. You see the battle that is going on there for Ian Happ, and one that he ultimately lost. Now, there's nothing Joey can do as far as running goes. Look at David Dahl. He actually went back to tag, which he didn't have to. He thought that once Happ was under it, he was going to catch it. Understandably so. That's the right play in normal circumstances, because you don't expect a big league outfielder to lose the ball in the sun. But because he was going to tag, if you're not thinking about tagging, then you should be standing on almost on second base as the left fielder is catching that baseball, which then he would have been at third and Joey likely would have been at second. But because he decided to tag, not a lot you can do there once that ball's lost in the sun.
So Nate Lowe in a good spot and pulls this one down to first. They'll go to second to get Gallo back to first in time, and they get Lowe for the double play to end the inning. Okay, well, nicely done. 3-6-3. Inning over, and we'll move to the second.
Let's make lots of money. You've got the brain, I've got the brain.
With Allstate, drivers who switched saved over $700. Click or call to switch.
Can we even afford this house?
I'm pretty sure we can. Pretty sure. With Rocket Mortgage, you can be certain. Not pretty sure.
What's the difference?
Let me show you. I'm pretty sure these aren't poisonous. I'm pretty sure these are parachutes.
Mine has a sandwich.
That's mine. I'm pretty sure you do not run. I'm pretty sure you could take Batista down. You're on.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure this is trending.
I'm pretty sure these hornets aren't the murdering type. I'm pretty sure we can make it.
Certain is better.
Let's go with certain.
Good choice.
When you're buying a home, pretty sure isn't sure enough. When you need to be certain about how much home you can afford, Rocket can.
Hi, neighbor. I'll hold the dog. Not again!
At Philadelphia, we know what makes the perfect smear of cream cheese. You need only the freshest milk and cream. That one! And the world's best, and possibly only, Chamelier. Philadelphia. Schmear perfection.
Searching for meaning in a relentless world. Always connected. But somehow alone. Trapped by illusion. We offer another path, where the battle to belong begins. Awakened by a calling. United by the cause you fight for. No one can take away what it means to be among the few, the proud, the Marines.
From Florida,
I always thought it was me, that I was the reason all these diets never worked.
Noom made me realize that I never really learned how to eat right.
It gets results by teaching you a lot about your own eating habits.
This doesn't feel restrictive. It feels like a true lifestyle change.
Once I understood why I was making those choices, it was easy for me to change those habits, and weight loss came naturally after that.
I've been on Noom for 4 months now. I've lost 27 pounds, and I feel like I got my life back.
Visit Noom.com and lose the weight for good.
At U-Haul, we know moving can be stressful.
Hey guys, can you all help us move?
It's tough to find the right help for the job.
I'm busy that weekend. Sorry, man. I didn't tell you what weekend.
That's why we created MovingHelp.com. MovingHelp.com is an online marketplace for booking reliable, affordable muscle for your move.
Thank you.
Find the right team for the right time at a locked-in price. Safe, convenient, reliable. Moving Help, powered by U-Haul. Your move made easier.
Contact and having that deep repertoire with all those different pitches, that'll be the name of the game, which Dave, as we talk about, really makes the defense a big deal for him, right? A guy that's going to pitch to contact. The Rangers are going to have to catch the ball behind Kohei Arihara in order for him to really provide all that value the Rangers are hoping for.
Yeah, and I like. I'm into that idea. I think a lot of baseball fans, right, would be into that idea. The idea of balls in play and defense playing well. 2-1 the count. Versus, of course, the opposite thing. You got a Gold Glover out in right field who can certainly help you out there. Got a Gold Glover at shortstop in the Rangers' case. Pretty nice luxuries to have. One wide of third, 2-2.
And think about Kyle Gibson. We know he's a big ground ball guy, right? Two-seam fastball and playing a fast infield that we have at Globe Life Field. The defense, listen, it's always important. But I think as the game has gone toward a little bit more slugging, a little bit more swing and miss, we've gotten away from some of those little things that we really like to see, whether it be base running, defense, all those little things. They're going to matter a lot this year for the Rangers.
Bodie stays alive. David Bodie, second baseman, cleanup man today. Let's see the numbers last year for Bodie. He does have some power. And that's, of course, one thing that works in his favor. Cubs, a team, I think you could say, in transition. I mean, they won the division again last year. But this is David Ross's second year as the manager. Whoa. 3-2. Theo Epstein no longer with the ball club. Jed Hoyer is stepped into a slightly different role, into Theo's role. There's strike three called, and Bodie, the third straight strikeout for Arihara.
We mentioned a deep repertoire for Arihara. This looked like it might have been a slider. Didn't exactly do what he wanted it to do, but it ended up being a strike. But what caught my attention, I don't know if you saw this, Jonah Heim and the signal that he put down. So he put down the one with the thumb sticking out.
Oh,
like, I mean, he wasn't doing the L like the loser on the forehead type of
but
move,
similar.
but he was, going the other way, pointing it down, like, it almost looked like a little, a little fake gun or something. So I'm wondering, because the repertoire does run so deep and five fingers aren't going to get it done, that perhaps the finger down, thumb out could be the slider.
Interesting.
It looked like it backed up a little bit, but I think that's what we saw there.
Marisnik turns this one foul. Well, so far, early returns on our first glance at Arihara, pretty good. Got the ground out of Happ. 3 straight strikeouts. They want this one up. Marisnik didn't mind. It could be playable. Nope, drops in front of Gallo. So first into the ball game for the Cubs, Jake Marisnik, the speedy center fielder.
So an 0-2 count in which they wanted to elevate. In this situation, they're looking for the swing and miss. And this is a little bit new to Arihara, as we talked about. Elevating the fastball is what he has been working on. And listen, it's weak contact is a good pitch. You probably would have liked to throw that maybe a little bit higher in that spot if you really want to nitpick and get that strikeout. But listen, weak contact base hits, not a lot you can do about that.
All right, so Marisnik, the man at first now for Matt Duffy. And he goes after the first pitch. That one heads foul out of play. Duffy with the Rays last season. Now with the Cubs. There's been a connection of sorts between the Rays and the Cubs in recent years. Whether it's Joe Madden's trip from Tampa Bay to Chicago, or Ben Zobrist, right? Zobrist, both recently.
Matt Duffy right now, it sounds like he might be in a fight to try to fill that last roster spot with the Cubs. They seem to like the work that he's doing so far, but at least as of earlier this morning, it seemed like it was still up in the air.
Well, the Cubs, they still have another game in Arizona. They'll play tomorrow afternoon back at their home park. There's David Ross. Odd year last year, of course, to make your managerial debut. But they did well. Won the Central, then lost in the postseason in that 3-game series with the Marlins.
So curious to watch Arihara here, what he decides to do. Mentioned he's got pretty good movement on all his pitches, right? So he's sitting behind in the count. 1 out, runner on first base. Does he have a pitch in there that he feels like he can throw down the middle with enough movement to get a ground ball, like that 2-seam fastball or the split or the slider?
Well, there's the ground ball, second base. Quick flip. And Kiner Falefa back to first for the double play. 4-6-3, the Twin killing. Arihara wanted the ground ball, and he got it when he needed it.
Yeah, great job here. Looking for that weak contact in this situation. Behind in the count, no runner on the move, and he delivers, and the Rangers turn it right behind him. Beautifully done all the way around.
Diane retired and opened that pottery studio.
How'd you come up with all these backstories?
I got help from a pro. My financial professional explained to me all the ways Nationwide can help protect financial futures in Peytonville.
Nationwide can help the Greens get lifetime income as their son Kyle's moving back home. It helped set up a financial plan for Mrs. Garcia.
And he explained how Nationwide could help Mr. Paisley retire early and spend more time with his pal Peyton.
And their new band.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Don't forget the band.
I haven't.
Hey, baseball fans, meet Major League Baseball's official MVP Cream Team. Say hello to the new look of Blue Emu. Gets down deep into your joints and muscles for fast-acting relief. They work fast, and you won't stink.
I always thought it was me, that I was the reason all these diets never worked.
This is genuinely not a temporary fix. There's some serious psychology behind it.
I've been on Noom for 4 months now. I've lost 27 pounds, and I feel like I got my life back.
Visit Noom.com and lose the weight for good.
Cow, you came in hot. Shake and bake. Shake and bake. Our lawyers just want you to know that this isn't real.
That's my boy.
All right, first pitch swinging, and Solak dribbles that one slowly toward third, and that was perfectly placed. Infield hit for Solak, and the lead man aboard in the second inning.
Jake Arrieta has always been pretty good over the course of his career at getting ground balls, but if you're going to hit one this slow. You don't want to hit it too hard. And for Nick Solak, not how he drew it up, but with Matt Duffy playing that far back, he has absolutely no chance of getting Solak.
All right, man aboard. And it brings up Rougned Odor. Rugi is the DH today. And he'll take strike one. Well, again, we haven't done very many of these spring training games, and we're not even in Arizona, CJ and I. So it's not like we've had an opportunity to catch any of these guys working out or in B games, or they've just watched games outside of what you've seen with us. This is our first look at Rugi. And a whole 0-2. And of course, much made. So we went to the offseason, and the announcement was made that Odor would not have the starting job at second base this year. It would be Nick Solak's. Elvis Andrus would not have the job at shortstop. And then ultimately he was traded to Oakland. So the question then is, where does Rugi fit in? That is maybe super utility. And really, it's emerged that maybe third base is the spot for him. And he takes strike three. Second strikeout of the game for Arrieta. Anyway, that's yet to be decided.
Well, backdoor slider here, and perfectly located from Jake Arrieta. That pitch is a ball most of the way and comes back and just catches the corner. Not a lot Rugi could do with that one, but you bring up a good point as far as where does Rougned Odor fit on this team, on this roster right now? What position will we see him playing? And it sounds like right now in a battle for some time over at third base. But what he did say, he seemed pretty pleased with and pleasantly surprised with the way that Rougned Odor has played third base defensively as far as the adjustments that have needed to be made. He feels like he's made them and maybe even has been better than expected.
Yeah, and of course made the observation that in terms of his physical tools, they might actually play up a little better at third base than they do at second to get better use of his good strong arm. So, well, we'll see. We'll see how it all plays out. Andy Ibanez today has the start at third and is batting here. And everything you hear about Ibanez is about that very good bat of his. Great contact hitter, good power. It's very consistent. Now, Ibanez will not break camp with the big club. He puts that one on the ground foul. 0-2. You know, each day you get a little trickle of roster moves and whatnot, but he was reassigned to the alternate site with the minor league work group yesterday.
Well, they like the offense a lot. You mentioned that bat and the things that he's done well. And as of a couple of weeks ago, they thought he may have had a shot at third base. So he's certainly in the plans for the Rangers. As you mentioned, won't start the season in Texas. Now, there is a little bit of a challenge for him, what he has laid out as far as getting better defensively. And they also feel like they could move him around if they have to. They said if needed, and they wanted him in the outfield, they think he could handle it. So he's in a pretty good spot right now, even though he will start the season. You know, I was going to say in the minor leagues, but you never know. Like, some of these guys could end up either going to the alternate site or going to minor league camp and then actually be in the big leagues before the minor league season starts. So I guess we can't technically say that they're starting in the minor leagues. They're just not starting in the big leagues because the minor league season is not going to start until the first week of May.
1-2. That's in the dirt. Yeah, in Ibanez's case, he'll be with that alternate site. And of course, you have to be at that alternate site if, let's just say, an injury or whatever forces a team to make a move. You have to be at that alternate site really to get up with the team quickly, right? Because what was it, 3 days of intake testing or something?
From the minor leagues
from the minor leagues?
Yeah, so if you stay back in minor league camp, as opposed to going to the alternate site, which will be in Round Rock.
Right.
I mean, to me, it's a lot. It seems like everyone should be able to get called up at any time. If you're in spring training, whatever it may be, you would assume that everyone is following protocols and staying healthy, but there are certainly some hurdles there as well. And I didn't realize this with Ibanez. I mean, he's going to be 28 years old here on April 3rd. So it's not as if he's, ultra young. Of course, came over from Cuba. And so his time's kind of now as far as the time. Missing the minor league season last year certainly hurt him in his age 27 season.
2-2. It's up ball hard on the ground and through into left field, base hit. Solak pulls up at second, but Ibanez with another single. Of course, the Rangers with 4 hits already in the ball game.
So what really sticks out in that at bat is the coverage and the pitches that he fouled off earlier. There were a couple of really tough pitches away, sliders, that he fouled off to keep the at-bat alive. Then he gets something he can handle a little bit better and hits this ground ball in the hole. Finds himself some space there on the left side of the infield. But there were a couple of really good sliders that were on the corner or just off that he fouled off to the right side to stay alive. And the plate coverage is something that Woody has talked about with him, and we saw it right there.
All right, Leody Taveras, switch hitter, hitting left-handed. There you see the numbers last year for Leody. He was impressive, certainly defensively beyond capable. I mean, he is, we talked about the Gold Glovers earlier, and Gallo and Kiner Falefa, and Taveras is in that category of defensive ability. I mean, he is a stud out there. Offensively, he showed maybe a little more power than we would have expected. Question is, can he handle Major League pitching consistently? Give it good at bats, get on base at a higher clip. 2-0.
Yeah, and the issue, I think, and this was a small sample size first taste last year. You don't want to over-analyze what we saw last year. But against the lefties, when he was hitting right-handed, the numbers were very good. He had 282, 814 OPS. On base, you mentioned it, 378. Against the right-handed pitchers, which is what he's doing right now, and batting left-handed, he struggled. He hit just 200. The on base was 273. It's a pretty stark contrast.
Gets ahead here, 3-1.
But 3 of the 4 home runs came against righties.
Yes, they did. That's right.
Again, small sample size, but it is what we saw last season.
Yeah, but that's, I mean, you know, what made some of the oddities available to us like that. He's intriguing. The 3-1. On the count full.
But as you mentioned, plus defender, great athlete. What he's always talked about, the edge that he plays with. They absolutely love the way that he carries himself. We'll see him. See how they figure this thing out as far as, is it going to be a platoon with Eli White? What happens in center field?
Payoff pitch. And he held off. That's ball 4. And they're loaded up. All right, so, yeah, Leote, chance to be the everyday center fielder. Eli White in that mix as well. And both really, in terms of physical tools, defensive ability, they're, I mean, Leote has more experience out there, but Eli's very, very athletic.
Yeah, and I think he really does fit the bill also of what the Rangers are trying to do this year. It's interesting to listen to Eli White talk about it. Not that he was spilling secrets, but just as far as you could tell what Woody has told the team that he has taken in and how his game fits what they're trying to do. Aggressive on the base pass, right? Being a really good defensive team, putting some pressure on clubs by the way that they play the game offensively, and Eli White fits that bill. We don't talk about it a lot in our sport, about having a skill set that fits a certain kind of team, right? It's more of a football thing, right? Do you fit the scheme?
Sure.
Does it make sense? But in the case of Eli White and what's going on in center field, maybe in right field, we'll see. Excuse me, maybe not right field in the world. No, we know who's playing right field. First base, that we may see him over at first a little bit. They want him in that lineup. You can tell Woody would like to get him in there one way or another. It would be really nice if the split situation worked out, right? So we mentioned Tavares and the struggles against righties. Well, with Eli White being a right-handed hitter, doesn't match up exactly the way that you would want it in any kind of true platoon.
Heim fouls that one off. Jonah Heim getting the job behind the plate today. Another part of the trade that sent Elvis Andrus to Oakland. Heim and Chris Davis, big right-handed slugger. He's injured at the moment, and Heim won't start the season with the big club, will he? Oh, no, I'm sorry, he will. 1-2 pitch. Whoop.
Got him on the foot.
Did he?
I thought I just saw the umpire. There goes.
Yeah, there we go. All right, so there's your first run of the game. Heim takes one off the foot. So we'll walk to the 8th place hitter. And then Arrieta hits the 9th place hitter, and the Rangers take the lead.
You watch this breaking ball. When we say back foot, it's not literal. But in this case, it looks like it was. Or maybe front foot. He didn't react. Jonah Heim, not trying to sell it, but he did get some help there from the umpire.
He didn't exactly hit him flush. I mean, just caught a little bit of the shoe. Kiner Falefa struck out in the first inning. He's 0 for 1. How about those numbers the last 8 games for Isaiah? Much made recently about his, I guess, his state of mind as we get ready for opening day. And look, guys, you know, can use all sorts of different things to motivate themselves, to fire them up, make sure that there's some chip on their shoulder to keep them engaged. And boy, Isaiah apparently found fodder, ammunition, if you will, at Fangraphs. Fangraphs.com. Now, I don't know if he stumbled on that himself, if somebody pointed it out to him, but they did a position by position ranking of every team, and they put the Rangers last at shortstop, and they did really discredit Isaiah in a rather, well, perhaps less than civil way. The 1-2. Little tapper shortstop, and that could end up being 2 outs. Whoa, a little high, and Isaiah hustles it out at first and keeps the inning alive. So in doing so, he picks up an RBI on the fielder's choice.
Take that, Fangraphs.
There you go.
But good job by Isaiah to hustle out of the box. Jake Arrieta, as we mentioned, very good ground ball pitcher, and always just one pitch away from getting 2 outs. So the high throw here allowed Isaiah to beat this thing out. Looked like the slider again. Stayed up in the zone a little bit, but Isaiah catches the top half of it. It really is kind of a textbook double play. Watch the throw here from David Bodie. See him get under it and throw just a little bit high. And that gave Isaiah Kiner-Falefa just enough time to get there.
Knockout blow for Jake Arrieta. Although, we'll see. He might be coming back. Rangers lead 2-0.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is, people like Geico because it's just easy. Bundling, for example. You've got car insurance here and home insurance here. Why not? Zoop, put them together. Save even more. Some things are better together, aren't they? Like tea and crumpets. You wouldn't bundle just anything. Like, say, a porcupine in a balloon factory. No, that'd be a mess. I mean, for starters, porcupines are famously no good in a team setting.
Geico. Save even more when you bundle home and car insurance.
Hey, look at this. New Kit Kat thins. They taste like Kit Kats and they are thin. Creamy and crispy and they are thin. You can see why we call them Kit Kat thins.
Spring is finally here, and you're just itching to upgrade your stuff. The best way to do that is in a new Hyundai, like the Santa Fe with an available class-exclusive digital smartphone key and loads of the latest technology. Drive your upgrade home instead of having it delivered, although we can do that too during the Hyundai Spring Upgrade event.
Get 0% APR for 60 months on select vehicles, plus 0 payments for 90 days. Hurry, sale ends soon.
At Fisher Investments, we do things differently, and other money managers don't understand why.
Because our way works great for us.
But not for your clients. That's why we're a fiduciary, obligated to put clients first.
So what do you provide? Cookie-cutter portfolios?
Nope. We tailor portfolios to our clients' needs.
But you do sell investments that earn you high commissions, right?
We don't have those.
So what's in it for you?
Our fees are structured so we do better when our clients do better. At Fisher Investments, we're clearly different.
Opening week is back. Catch live games all week, live look-ins, and breakdowns from baseball's best. Opening week on MLB Network begins Thursday.
Right on cue. First pitch from the reliever, Juan James.
Confidence?
30%.
Oh, really?
Nah.
Listen, we all count on you here. I hope you understand that.
Yeah,
you know
well.
I'm going to botch it.
Ooh, right back off his leg. Karam's out toward right, and that will be a hit for David Dahl. Gets another run home, and it's 3-0 Rangers.
This ball smoked right back up the middle off the bat of David Dahl. And interesting, they're trying to go away. The ball finished middle in, but coming into the lefty. And you see him stick his foot out there almost intentionally as if to try to stop the ball. Had it not hit his foot, he had some help right behind him at second base. And Nico Horner probably would have caught that ball, or at least had a shot at catching it. But here's what got me, is that, you know, when we have these spring training games and there's always extra players that come over. So we get a list here from the Cubs, and it has name presentation preferences. So how you're going to, how you're going to font the player, what it's going to look like. Make sure you have it right. That's cool. All right, yeah, that name, I haven't seen that one before. Might be a little difficult. So then you look at the pronunciation guide right underneath, and he's nowhere to be found.
Hang with him.
I mean, is that like, oh, of course you should know how to pronounce that name. Never seen it before. That was discouraging.
Yeah, I'm going James, but it's really nothing more than a guess. One fouled off by Gallo. It was drafted initially by the Twins in 2016 out of North Dakota State University. Recently, he'd been playing some baseball in Mexico. The one strike pitch. That's low, 1-1. Well, a 3-run inning. And again, we don't know. In fact, if I had to guess, I would say that we'll see Jake Arrieta in the 3rd inning. That's the way things have been working out this spring. Guys leave after a certain pitch count an inning, and he was at 41 pitches total. And so they'll just get him out and reduce the workload for that inning, get him back up again in the 3rd. In the meantime, James, his job just to finish things off here, but they're only 3 runs in and 2 outs, and this one in the air out to left field, hit pretty well, and up in the wind like that, it is gone. Gallo with a 3-run shot, and he doubles the output in the inning. It's now 6-0.
We use a lot of cliches in our game, and one of the ones that we use toward the end of spring training is that you just want to see guys healthy and feeling good, maybe driving the ball to all parts of the ballpark. And here's a good example of what you want to see from Joey Gallo toward the end of spring training. Not just the fact that it was a home run, but that he hit this ball the other way and took it for a ride. And it's 350 down the line. This is a big ballpark. So to show that kind of power to the opposite field tells you that Joey Gallo's swing is probably right where you'd want it to be this time of year.
Well, now Nate Lowe, the 9th hitter in the inning. The only outs this inning, there was the fielder's choice off the bat of Kiner Falefa, and then the strikeout of Odor. Everybody else has reached and scored basically as Lowe takes ball 2. Lowe bounced into a double play in the 1st inning. And he takes tied here, 3-0. So an infield hit off of James' foot. Gallo with the opposite field home run, and now a 3-0 count on the Rangers cleanup man. There's ball 4. Oh, not what he wanted to do coming in relief here. Non-roster invitee. He's just trying to make an impression in camp here, and in hopes that they'll find a spot to use him later on. Here's Nick Solak, who started the inning with the little dribbler down to 3rd. Infield hit.
Good example of why contact matters, right? The ability to put the ball in play, even though Nick did not hit that ball very hard. He reaches first. Rangers get a little action going, and when you hit that a little harder, it's an out, and this inning is not nearly what it's turned into.
It's been a good part of the conversation this spring, is the idea of cutting down the strikeouts, which is obvious. Every team wants to do that, and just putting the ball in play, because as Woody likes to point out, it gives you a chance, right, that something could happen. I could throw it away. Maybe you find a hole, whatever the case. And that was kind of a perfect example. I'm getting that order in on DoorDash real quick. A 12-inch sub? It's interesting. I wonder, going over scouting information or what that might have been even on a phone. I don't think that's legal in the regular season. I don't think you're going to be able to have access to phones. Can you in the dugout?
I don't think so, and I think Woody's pretty upset that somebody tried to put anchovies on his sub. He looked angry. Angry, animated. That's not what I said. I couldn't tell. Was that Krabby he was talking to?
Yeah. Yep, Calyx Crab.
One of the things that Woody mentioned, he was asked about the staff and how things were going so far this spring training. He seemed pretty excited about all of it and the work that everybody's putting in. They know there's some development that will be going on this year, but the people that are in charge of that development, I mean, they are all the way in on trying to make the most of every single player on this roster. And I don't just mean the big league roster, everyone that's come through camp, everyone that'll spend some time in this Rangers organization this year.
That's 8 straight misses now by James. And it brings up Odor, who struck out earlier in the inning on 3 pitches. And they'll take inside. That is ball 9. That's a struggle. Can't find it right now.
Well, hard contact, as you mentioned, right? Dahl, Gallo both hit the ball really, really hard. And you're sitting here trying to make an impression. So now you start to maybe be a little bit too fine, and I think that's what we're seeing.
Odor hits this one in the air out towards center field, but that'll hang up just a little bit for Marisnick, and the inning is done. Rangers take 6 runs in the inning.
Yeah, and they did it partially because of this bomb from Joey Gallo. Take a look at the swing here on a pitch that is middle away, and Joey launches this thing line drive to left field. Rangers lead it 6-0.
We don't want to overhype the return of the quesalupa from Taco Bell, so we're skipping all the fanfare.
Oh, man.
We'll just tell you, the quesalupa's cheese stuffed shell is back, and we think you'll like it.
Shaq? Remember you were telling us to check out the General for car insurance, and we all thought you were losing it, so we left you deep in the woods? Turns out you were right about the General. I just misjudged them based on their commercials. They're actually a quality insurance company that's been saving people money for nearly 60 years.
I'm pretty sure I said all of that.
I bet. Let's get out of here.
5 more minutes. My skunk is almost done.
Ooh, is that what I smell?
For a great low rate and nearly 60 years of quality coverage, make the right call and go with the General.
At Philadelphia, we know what makes the perfect smear of cream cheese. You need only the freshest milk and cream. That one. And the world's best, and possibly only, Chamelier. Philadelphia. Schmear perfection.
Introducing New Degree Body Wash. Made with Epsom salt and electrolytes. Designed to reset muscles in the shower.
Charge up?
Try New Degree Maximum Recovery.
Every baseball game begins long before the first pitch is thrown. As the official freight carrier of Major League Baseball, Old Dominion is proud to play our role in supporting the game we all love. Our customers know the people of Old Dominion see every shipment as a promise. Whether it's a giveaway for the big game or youth baseball equipment that needs to be shipped across the country. No one helps keep those promises like the Old Dominion team.
My car is my after-work decompression zone. So when my windshield broke, I found the experts at Safelite Auto Glass. They have exclusive technology and service I can trust.
Safelite Repair, Safelite Replace.
Instead of just doting on him and recruiting him, so to speak, they were also able to tell him the things that they thought they could help him improve upon, which impressed him.
Yeah, not only that, Emily, too, the fact that I think that he's open to it, right? Because you bring up a good point. The idea that if you're going to get courted as a free agent, that perhaps the way we see it go more often than not is, let me tell you how great you are and why we love you, right? And that try to make that person feel good about you, and that maybe is the draw to come sign with your ball club. But he seems like a pretty bright guy, analytical minded. He said they did a little bit of that work in Japan, but maybe not to the same degree that we see here in the States right now. And he seemed to love it. He seemed to absorb it. And the idea of working on some of those things that are going to help him be a successful big league pitcher were really a draw for him.
You want to hear a football story that I have that kind of relates to this?
Yeah.
So when Adrian Peterson was being recruited, when I asked him, when I was covering football, I asked him why he chose Oklahoma, and he said, because Bob Stoops told me, hey, we're going to be OU whether you're here or not. We're going to be good, but we think that you can make us better. Regardless of where you go, though, we feel like we've got the things in place. Like, so it wasn't so much like, oh, we need you, we're so desperate to have you. It's like, we're going to be fine if we don't get you, but we'd still love to have you here. So that's what sold him on OU. Everybody else, he said, was just kind of falling all over him.
So if you were full of ego, that doesn't work for you, right? And that's probably also a really good sign in the recruitment process, whether it's, you know, college athletics or even talking about on the baseball side, right? If you have a player that doesn't necessarily love hearing that, that might tell you something as the recruiter saying, you know what, this might not be our guy anyway.
Line shot up the middle and snared by Solak behind the bag. So a wisdom ground out. Higgins into the line out and 2 quick outs here in the third.
And you love seeing that. Arihara comes in, he throws some strikes quickly after a long Ranger inning when they put up 6 on the board, keeping the pressure on, as we mentioned, part of the process here. And so now, if he can finish this one up pretty quickly, you got to believe that Chris Woodward would be thrilled. Even though it's only a spring training game, these are those things you're looking for.
Nick Martini now, the designated hitter. Last year with the Iowa Cubs, or rather 2 years ago with the Iowa Cubs. No minor league season last year. 1-1. See, I think you tell somebody you don't need them that's a little psychological trick. You know what I mean? It's like, oh no, yeah, if you want to come here, that's great, I guess. We're not, I mean, we're interested, you know, color us interested, but you know, we don't have to have you or anything. And now suddenly you're like, no, you do need me, and I'm going to show you how much you need me. Oh, that's a beauty in there for a strike. 2-2.
Might have been the split finger from Arihara. Mentioned the idea of pitching behind in the count. We saw him get that double play to end the previous inning in a 3-1 count. And he shows us right there that he's not afraid to throw, I think was that split finger, in a 2-1 count. Ooh, that's a nice combination.
Boy, he just missed too.
Well, what that does, it makes that fastball look a little bit harder, right? By itself, he's not overpowering with the fastball, but how do you dress it up a little bit? Well, in a fastball count, throw an off-speed pitch, and then in a 2-2 count, come back with a pretty well-placed fastball.
Well, got him to chase the high heat there, and the inning is done. 4th strikeout for Arihara through 3 shutout innings.
Smooth driving pays off. Saving is easy when you're in good hands. Allstate. Click or call for a quote today.
The Chevy Silverado Trail Boss. When you have a 2-inch lift. When you have Goodyear Duratrack tires. When you have Rancho shocks and an integrated dual exhaust. When you have all that, the last thing you'll need is a road. The Chevy Silverado Trail Boss. Ready to off-road, right from the factory.
If you want to be a winner, then get a turkey footlong from Subway. That's oven-roasted turkey, piled high with crisp veggies on freshly baked bread. So let's get out there and get those footlongs.
Now at Subway, buy 1 footlong in the app and get 150% off. Subway, eat fresh.
Want to make a name for yourself in gaming? Then make a name for yourself, even if your office and bank balance are far from glamorous. That means expensing nothing but pizza.
Your expenses look good, and your books are set for the month.
Going up against this guy and pitching your idea 100 times.
No.
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 No. I like it.
He likes it, and you definitely love that.
Intuit QuickBooks helps small businesses be more successful with payments, payroll, banking, and live bookkeeping.
Dental implants are going to give people that full aspect of their life back.
At Clear Choice, we've been doing this for many, many years, and I think we truly help patients change their lives here.
It's so meaningful to be a part of that impact.
Come in, talk to us. You're going to get an education on what implants are, what the solutions are, what can be done.
At touchofmodern.com, we always surprise, excite, inspire, because our expertly curated products are never ordinary, never mundane, and never in a million years what you'd expect to see or imagined you'd ever have. Here's to the thrill of discovering the next exceptional and unexpected product. Check it all out at touchofmodern.com.
Sent 11 to the plate last inning. Arrieta left in the middle of the melee, but he's back in here in the third. The old spring training opportunity to leave a game, come right back in, and Ibanez greets him with a pretty aggressive first swing.
Yeah, not surprising, I think, to see Jake Arrieta back out there in his last outing, 5 2/3 innings on March 23rd, 5 days ago. So no way they were just going to let him throw an inning in a third. I imagine we'll see him for a couple of more, and who knows if he'll finish all those. I really like this for spring training. You and I talked about it a little bit, and could it be something we see in the regular season? I hope they keep it at least for spring training, because I have to believe that managers would love to be able to do that. Because if an inning gets too long, like it did for Jake Arrieta, you don't want him throwing too many pitches in one shot. If this was a normal spring training, he would have come out of that game, relaxed for a little bit, and then gone down and thrown like 30 or 40 more pitches in the bullpen. And that's just not a great way to prepare for the season, especially at this time of the year.
This one lined over shortstop. That's a base hit for Ibanez. This Rangers offense looking pretty good top to bottom this afternoon against a good pitcher.
Breaking ball here that sat in the middle of the plate, and Ibanez has been swinging a good bat. And we mentioned his last at bat and how good it went, his ability to foul off some really tough pitches and hit the ground ball in the hole. But you can see it. You can see his ability to cover both sides of the plate. That is not an easy thing to do. And this is a fun guy to root for. Hopefully he gets that opportunity this year to finally get to the big leagues.
Oh, he's aboard now in front of Taveras, and the first pitch fouled away. 4 hits last inning. The Rangers had 2 hits in the first inning. Already a hit here in the third. They've spread it up and down the lineup. I think, well, yeah, everybody in the lineup, save Kiner Falefa and Rougned Odor, have reached base safely so far. And Isaiah has driven in a run and scored a run. He reached on a fielder's choice. 1-1. I was talking to Calix Crabb the other day about what they've been doing and how spring training is gone in terms of just the messaging and the, you know, the ability of guys to adapt and you know, really maybe kind of embrace some of the philosophies that they're really trying to ingrain in them. And there's a lot of optimism right now. Runner going and no throw offered. Ibanez with an uncontested steal. Higgins just couldn't get that out of the glove.
Pretty good jump there from Ibanez. I'm not sure they would have had a play anyway, but you're right on that exchange. There's no chance they were going to get him anyway.
So now 2-1 on Leote. The man in scoring position. But that's been the big goal this year, is just try and make the at bats better up and down the lineup. It's not to say that there's an expectation that everybody on this team is going to hit 270 or better, but if they can just compete a little more, strike out a little less up and down the order, they feel like that's going to lead to a lot more success in the long run. And now the count is run full on Taveras.
Yeah, I think incremental steps is probably the way you look at it. Using Taveras right as an example. Cutting down some of that chase for him will be important. You know the defense is already going to be there. It's just the offense that you keep an eye on, especially when he's in these situations, batting left-handed against right-handed pitching. You can see some improvements there. See Ibanez there at second base. Will he get an opportunity to play at the big league level? What does that look like? Can he be part of the future?
Leote goes down swinging, and that is out number 1. All right, let's check in again with Emily.
You mentioned the conversation with Calix Crabb about the buy-in, and Woody talking today about, you know, what they've gained from this spring training, you know, kind of the most, I guess, profound thing. And he did mention that buy-in and how that these guys are really starting to get a chip on their shoulder because the expectations outside are obviously very low. And it sounds like they're kind of, you know, they're peeved about it and looking forward to an opportunity to prove some of those skeptics wrong. But that buy-in, what he said, is the biggest thing that they can take from this in this whole, you know, process of, you know, rebuilding, so to speak, that they have to have that buy-in from top to bottom, and they feel like they've gotten it. And a lot of that has to do, you know, with the staff, the new guys, and the ones that they brought back.
That's a great opportunity, right? You should be buying into what they're selling right now because there's opportunity to play at the big league level, and that is a really necessary step in the process, that you're trusting your coaching staff, what they're bringing to the table, and you're trying to implement their ideas. It's your quickest way to get to the big leagues right now in a Texas Rangers uniform. And more importantly, the quickest way to stick, because this team will spend eventually. We know that. And so there'll be more resources poured into the team as the years go on. They're going to be ready to contend again pretty soon. And if you're a young player right now with a little bit of service time, you want to be part of that.
Well, Jaime ahead here, 2-0. High strike call. Stu Sherwaters, our plate umpire today. Just a three-man crew. Gabe Morales and Jensen Visconti, the other two umpires. And they move around on the bases during these spring training games. Here's a 2-1. Boy, Arrieta pretty consistently working from behind this afternoon.
He is, and he seems like he's trying to work those corners quite a bit as well, looking for swings. Mentioned a two-seam fastball, pretty good one for him in general. Does a good job of getting ground balls, although it was an issue for him last season.
In the air, right center. It's mostly center. Marisnik takes care of it, and that is out number 2. Which will take us back up to the top of the order. Oh, I mentioned that the Cubs have a game tomorrow at their home, Sloan Park in Mesa. Rangers boarding the charter after the ball game today, and they'll be headed home. And by home, I mean to Arlington. They're coming back. Some 46 players, I believe, will be on that flight, and they'll be back for the exhibition games tomorrow night and then Tuesday afternoon at Globe Life Field against the Brewers. Such a great opportunity, too, when you've got a ballpark like we have in Arlington, or of course a number of places have a similar luxury where you know you can come back, you can schedule those games well in advance and be a part of your spring training schedule, but you get the guys back home and give them an opportunity to just settle in a little bit. I mean, not a lot, right?
No.
There's not very much you can do in a couple of days, especially when you've got games, but they'll have the off day Wednesday. That's got to be a huge luxury.
Yeah, it's nice to be able to go home for a couple of days, as you mentioned, that off day, if you're going to start the season on the road, as opposed to leaving straight from spring training after being there for 6, 7, sometimes more weeks, and then going right into a road trip. Now, did I read? I thought I saw, I can't remember who wrote this, but that they'll be leaving Tuesday night after the game, take the off day in Kansas City, right? Because we saw a little bit different, where there would be times where
right.
you would, you know, during COVID, where sometimes you wouldn't travel right away.
Yeah.
It would take the off day. And I can't remember who wrote it, so I apologize. But
well, I appreciate you bringing it up, because you're right. I think I said that starting the season at home, you're right. They start on the road in Kansas City. And I think it is now mandatory, right, that you leave on that Tuesday and have that off day in the town where you're starting the season. I think that's a...
I mean, just for opening day, it's a rule?
Yep.
Yeah. Because we have seen teams, right, decide to stay back sometimes, or because of some of the sleep studies that they've done. that a team will say, instead of flying in or getting in 2, 3 o'clock in the morning after a night game, if we have an off day, we may actually stay home. And different things. There's different variations of what they've tried to do. But it's a day game on Tuesday, so they'll get into Kansas City at a pretty decent hour.
Full count on Hernandez.
But either way, there's something to be said for coming home first. You know, whatever you may be doing.
Sure.
For a lot of new guys, could be just, may not have an apartment lined up just yet. For some guys that are just finding out that they're, making the team, you start to dig in a little bit. If you feel like you have a chance to make the club, you start getting a feel for, where may be an ideal place to live, where have other players lived, where maybe the leases are friendly, short-term leases, that kind of stuff. Or is there a guy you're tight with that maybe you could stay with until you can get settled in?
Stays full on Hernandez. Arahara, 3 shutout innings so far this afternoon. And just waiting to head back out for the 4th. Not sure how many he'll go today. 4, 5 probably a minimum, one would think. Meanwhile, the regulars, as they come around for a 3rd time, may be starting to exit the game. Kiner Falefa, after 2 at-bats, gives way to Yanni Hernandez here.
By the way, along those lines, I actually was doing this the other day. Apartments that I've had during the season over the course of my career.
Count them up?
Yeah, venture to guess.
Oh, my goodness. For like everything?
19, no spring training. Does not include spring training.
Oh, man. Let me ask you a question. There's strike 3 called, so we'll take this over to the next half inning because this is that's a fun game.
Cal, you came in hot. Shake and bake, shake and bake. Our lawyers just want you to know that this isn't real.
That's my boy. Just remember my motto. If you ain't first,
you're last.
Purchase and get $10 per horsepower with Dodge Power Dollars. That's $7,970 on the Dodge Challenger SRT Hellcat Redeye.
I spent months looking for a job. I got nowhere. This helped me deal with that frustration. Things changed when I tried ZipRecruiter because it works like a free personal recruiter. ZipRecruiter sent me great jobs. I applied with a click. Some companies even invited me to apply. I started a new job last week. This still helps.
Go to ZipRecruiter.com and put ZipRecruiter to work for you.
In Peytonville, there's lots of ways to save on auto insurance.
Really?
Yep. Very proud of that. With Smart Ride from Nationwide, they can get discounts for safe driving.
Does she get one?
Mrs. Carmichael, safest driver in Peytonville. Takes a lot of work and effort to be the safest driver in Peytonville.
What about this guy?
With Nationwide Smart Miles, the less he drives, the less he pays. The list of inspiring stories goes on and on.
I bet. I've never seen anyone do more with their retirement than you.
I concur.
Hey, look at this, new Kit Kat thins. They taste like Kit Kats and they are thin. Creamy and crispy and they are thin. You can see why we call them Kit Kat thins.
From Florida,
it's going to be a very tough division.
To Arizona,
there is reason for optimism.
Teams are getting ready.
I think we're all excited and we're all extremely confident.
MLB Tonight is primed for Spring Training 2021. Tonight at 7 Eastern on MLB Network.
So here's my question that I have to ask you for our contest as we go to the 4th inning here. And by the way, Arahara has faced the minimum through 3 innings. He's looked really good today. He gets that first one in there for a strike. When you had a season where you might have been up to the big leagues, sent back down, option back and forth, that kind of thing, did you typically go back to the same apartment? This one lined into left field. And Happ is aboard. He'll have extra bases as he cruises to second with a leadoff double. Just the second hit today for the Cubs.
So I would say this, it depends. It really does vary for a lot of guys. I think about the up. I don't know if I've had many up and down years, quite honestly. It seemed like I'd be down and then up, but I wouldn't necessarily be going back and forth, where I was worried about whether or not I should close out my lease. All that stuff is covered in the CBA for players, and so you're not going to lose money doing it. And that's why you're always looking for some flexibility in your lease when you're looking for a place to live, especially when you're going to a new city. But No, I don't. I think that I wasn't ever in a position, believe it or not, when you hear this number, that actually happened, where I was like, wow, I got sent down. Should I close my lease out and then come back and stay in the same place? Either you close it out, because you don't want to be paying rent. Right, in the same place. I did it in August of 1995. I paid rent in 3 cities. I mean,
man.
It's a killer. Like I said, you do, if you get traded or whatever it may be, it's all covered in the CBA.
0-2 on Nico Horner.
So it's 19 total years.
Yeah, so 19 years, international,
3 different countries.
domestic.
Yeah.
I'm going to say total leases, apartment leases that you would have signed or been a part of.
Non-spring training, not counting any.
Non-spring training.
Yeah.
51.
Come on, 51?
I don't know.
2.5 a year on average? On average?
It's tough.
Is Emily still around?
Well, Horner goes down on strikes, one away. Was that offensive? That was probably...
No, it wasn't offensive. It's like anything. When you feel like you have something that's fun guessing, you expect someone to underguess. The answer is 31.
31's a ton.
31 apartments.
I mean, it's hard for me to even gauge. But, yeah, that's a lot.
31. You ready for it in fast speed, in between pitches?
Oh, I'd love it, yeah.
Let's see if I can pull it off. Probably start mumbling. I don't know what I was doing. I was like in a waiting room, bored out of my mind. I don't know what happened. It came up, and I was just like, I don't know. Let me go back and kind of count these. Chattanooga, Tennessee, Indianapolis, Cincinnati, Detroit, Toledo, Detroit, New Orleans, Houston, New Orleans, Detroit, New Orleans, Memphis, Oklahoma City, Texas, Oklahoma City, Atlanta, Columbus, New York City, in Indianapolis, Washington, D.C., New Orleans, Indianapolis, Fukuoka, Incheon, which is in, dang it, I didn't make it. And then Seoul twice, 2 different ones in Seoul. I hear a lot of New Orleans in there.
Yeah.
There's a lot of New Orleans in there.
Oh, man. Boy, that's a lot of, activation fees for the cable.
Oh, man.
That's a $17 activation fee for that cable system. Okay. Well, Peterson with a characteristic daddy hack right there, and that one is gone. 2-run homer, and the Cubs are on the board. He does like to swing out of his shoes. He doesn't get cheated, and that was a pretty aggressive cut.
When you mentioned it, we know that Jock Peterson has power. We saw it in that Los Angeles Dodgers uniform going back to 2014 when he first broke in the big leagues. This pitch right down the middle now, trying to go all the way in, and it leaks back over. To me, that would be an interesting pitch to talk about with him, and whether or not that was the 4-seamer or the 2-seamer. Is that 4-seamer leaking? Was it staying in the way that he wanted to, or was that the goal, or was it a 2-seamer that he was trying to look for maybe that freeze called strike with him? 36 home runs a couple of years ago from Jock Peterson.
It was a pretty good swing, but this one into left field, and Jason Martin, who had come into play defensively, makes the catch. 2 away.
Could end up being a pretty good sign for the Chicago Cubs. Just a 1-year deal for Jock Peterson. Now, has had his issues against lefties. Whether or not they're going to platoon him or not, we will see. Well, what do you think here?
Quick one. Was it the fact that the swings are a little more aggressive?
Maybe.
That brings a visit? I don't.
That's what makes me wonder a little bit what that one might have been about. But I mean, he came back. Listen, the last one sounded loud, but it was probably off the end of the bat.
Yeah, it didn't carry. So with 2 gone.
But this is a big part of the process for Arihara, is seeing how his stuff plays to big league hitters, and not just his stuff, but also some of these things that he's working on. Right. So as I mentioned, if that was a 4-seamer that he was hoping stayed straight and tailed back, is there something he can do to work on to make sure it does stay straighter? Or is it something he says, you know what, I don't think I should be throwing that pitch like that. It doesn't work for me.
Well, Marisnik with a comfortable swing, but he lines out to left, and Arihara is through 4 innings with the Rangers leading by 4.
If you work hard and sweat, water alone just isn't going to give you the rapid hydration you need. Your body needs more than water for peak performance. Move over, water. Now there's Hydro Renew 3X, the electrolyte replenishing, all-natural drink mix that delivers 3 times the cellular hydration of water alone. Rip open Hydro Renew. Pour in the deep hydration formulation. Give it a quick shake. Instantly transform water into supercharged hydration that works 3 times faster than water. Hydro Renew supercharges your hydration with all natural ingredients like Himalayan pink sea salt, coconut water, vitamin C, magnesium, and more. Hydro Renew 3X is the great tasting, all natural, sugar-free sports drink that delivers electrolytes and vital minerals without the junk. It's just clean, rapid hydration. Our proprietary blend is scientifically formulated and designed to naturally speed up water absorption in your body at a core cellular level. Get the perfect balance of key ingredients to hydrate on a cellular level 3 times faster than water alone. Step up your peak performance and feel great with Hydro Renew 3X. Traditional sports drinks are loaded with fake colors and tons of sugar. This single bottle has over 51 grams. That's crazy. Hydro Renew 3X has 0 sugar, no preservatives, is all natural, and sweetened with stevia. You need a drink that supports your healthy choices with a pure supercharged hydration formulation. Click or call to get 10 packs of the incredible Hydro Renew 3X for $19.99. But wait, to make this the best offer on TV, now you can double the offer. Just pay a separate fee. That's an additional 10 packs, and we'll ship your entire order free. That's right, free shipping. You get it all. Here's how to order.
To order, call 1-800-399-2419 or go online to hydrorenew.com. So call 1-800-399-2419. That's 1-800-399-2419 or go to hydrorenew.com. Order now.
One of the things that they do in spring training, not all the time, but they did it today, was that we'll get the lineup and then we'll get the replacements and where they will go in the lineup. And so there were 8 scheduled replacements. Will you put those in your scorecard ahead of time that there's absolute confidence that they'll do it?
First time ever today that I did that.
Yeah, I did too.
I put them in a slightly lighter font, if you will, or gray ink. And yeah, so far it's working out. And it's honestly super helpful.
Yes.
These games, you know, no, I don't think the viewer is terribly concerned one way or the other, but there's just something about doing this job. You want to make sure you get the right guys or you're identifying people correctly. And it's a challenge during spring training. And even more so in a year like this year when we're not there. 1-1. Oh, that's a little high.
Because you just may not see everybody.
Right.
The inability to take a look out on the field or even, get in, binoculars, whatever it takes. Oh, who's that out there? And being able to find who it is. And even if they're in, big league camp, minor league camp, all that stuff that we have to go through. But I did it too. No, you can always erase your scorecard. So right. I type mine in, save it as a PDF, and then I score on it after that. So if it's for some reason it doesn't work out, I mean,
a little more mess.
I might have to leave.
Well, so far so good. Good day for David Dahl, who ended up 2 for 2. Martin's first at bat of the day. But he's had a really nice spring. I didn't go.
Did you notice when I believe there was a runner at first earlier in this game and there was a check swing and the home plate umpire pointed down to third, but the third base umpire, because there's only 3 umpires today, had moved to second.
Oops.
And so he pointed to third, and then he pointed to second.
Another walk. Martin this time draws the leadoff walk. So what is that now? That's 3. That's 4. I think I have 4 Rangers walks and a hit batter. Again, just more indication of the discipline and I guess really selective approach that they've been preaching. Adolis Garcia hitting here for Gallo, who homered today. We'll take a strike.
Really curious to see where he ends up starting the season. The Rangers are likely down to one more roster spot. That's not completely official, but just the way that we kind of look at it, could be a possibility maybe of a second that they still have to decide on. But Garcia is one of these guys that's right in the mix.
Down the third baseline, that's a fair ball. Will be extra bases. Question is, how far can Martin go? They wave him to the plate. He'll score. RBI double for Adolis Garcia. And it is 7-2, and the great spring continues.
Sit there and play this game. What can you count on in spring training? What can you believe in? Well, Ryan Tepera is a big league pitcher, and Garcia does a great job of going out and hooking this thing down the line. His strong spring really does continue, and he makes the Rangers have to think a little bit more about taking him. Do you say north? No, you take him east. Or is it north just automatic?
Oh, that's interesting. Yeah, I feel like it's just north.
Yeah, is the phrase we use.
Yeah. But it really is decidedly more east than it is north. But I like north. We take him east. Go west, young man. Take him east. Now, Curtis Terry takes a low strike, and so finds himself quickly in an 0-2 hole. A run in. Garcia out at second. And Tepera. It's a swing and a miss. Terry may have chased just a little bit there, one away.
Take a look at this breaking ball, expanding the zone way ahead in the count. Terry unable to hold up. Almost looked like a knuckle curveball grip there from Tepera. So one finger kind of up, pressed into the baseball.
All right, one away now, and Anderson Tejeda, runner goes from second. Tejeda swings and misses, throw down to third base, is not in time. And so Garcia with a stolen base.
Not a big lead, but a really good jump there from Garcia. And this is important for him. Again, he's trying to make that last impression, that last push to try to make the ball club. What are we hearing? The Rangers are going to be aggressive. They're going to put some pressure on teams. They're going to run the bases a little bit more aggressively than you see in the game these days.
This one looped just over second base. That's a base hit. Gets another run across the plate. 8-2.
We know Tejeda is not afraid to swing. This pitch looked like it finished probably belt in, but does a good job turning it into a base hit. And Garcia will score easily. Remember we watched his debut? He saw 5 pitches in his first 4 plate appearances. In August. It was
That's
fun
right.
to watch. He had a home run, if you remember.
Yep.
It was really fun to watch with him. I was like, who is this guy aggressive? Like, we can read about guys or watch little minor league clips here and there, all that good stuff. I was like, all right, he's ready to make his presence be known. And you can kind of see it even in that at bat. Certainly he's going to work on being a little bit more selective, but Anderson Tejeda is very aggressive at the plate.
A strike into John Hicks, who is taken over as the DH. So Rugi's day is done. 0-2 for him. And this one on the ground slowly to third base. 2 away.
What a weird day for Rougned Odor, right? Comes in and is a DH for the Rangers and only got to play in the second inning.
Yeah.
Both of those at bats. Remember, he led off that inning, and then did he lead off that inning? No, he batted second in that inning and made the last out in that inning.
Well, Tejeda at second now for Ibanez. And Ibanez may indeed play the entire game today. It is not unusual. We were appreciative of the lineup today. It was a kind of a nice representative lineup. Got to see some of the big names and the potential opening day starters. But only a couple innings of work on this getaway day. They'll clean up, pack up their lockers, relax, and make the trip in. Game tomorrow night against Milwaukee. Oh, this one in the air out to center field. Davis angles back and he'll reel it in, due in the inning. Two more cross for the Rangers. It's now an 8-2 lead for Arihara, who heads out for the fifth.
Walter, did you know Geico could save you hundreds on car insurance and a whole lot more? So what are you waiting for? World's strongest man, Martins Litzis, to help you break down boxes?
What am I gonna do to you, Box? Let me break it down for you. Oh! You're going down! Down to the recycling center!
Hey, thanks, Martins.
Hey, you're welcome.
Geico. Switch today and see all the ways you could save.
Are you worried about the state of the world? How about your retirement? It's time to get a plan. Download award-winning free financial tools and take control with Personal Capital. Join millions of others and download free financial tools today at personalcapital.com.
At Philadelphia, we know what makes the perfect schmear of cream cheese. The recipe we invented over 145 years ago, and me, the world's best, and possibly only, schmelier. Philadelphia, schmear perfection.
With unprecedented detail, clarity, color, and depth, and the industry's best picture format, DirecTV gives you the most live sports in 4K. You can experience the Masters, golf's legendary tournament in stunning 4K HDR. With complete coverage from Augusta National's famed Amen Corner. It's just like being there. The Masters live in 4K HDR. If you don't have 4K, call and ask for it today.
DirecTV brings you the big leagues, where the lights and the stars are brighter under pressure. Now baseball is always on with MLB Extra Innings. Get the full regular season, now at a lower price. Out-of-market games every week. Your favorite players, your favorite teams. Streaming always included with MLB.tv. Game Mix has up to 8 games at one time. Baseball is always on with MLB Extra Innings on DirecTV.
Remember, he walks in with a 6-0 lead at that point. And so you want him to continue to fill up the zone. If that means a little bit more contact, so be it. And the Rangers got those 2 runs right back for him. And how about the pitch count? Not bad at all for him at 57 through his 4+ innings.
I'm going to ask you, frankly, a rather irresponsible question.
All right.
Because we saw the visit last inning, right? After, I want to say, in the Nico Horner at bat.
Mm-hmm.
And so there'd been the double, maybe an aggressive swing by Horner, but that was about it. 1-1 to Duffy, and that one's lifted high in the air. When you get it that high, the wind can take it, and that one goes right off the top of the fence. The Shields will hustle it back in. Duffy got a great running start, and he'll have a triple. And that was more of a pop-up that just got up there in that breeze.
Yeah, continued to carry, and these are tough reads sometimes. You're going to see Delano DeShields chase this thing down after you see a breaking ball sit in the middle of the zone for Matt Duffy. And we know Delano's made some great plays in a Rangers uniform. And that's at the very top of the wall. It would have been a tough one.
You know, I say in the breeze, there's no evidence of a breeze right now.
Feel it?
Yeah.
Or is that the air conditioning
AC
here?
just pop on? But there is, when you're in Arizona, that light air, higher altitude, etc. You get it up, takes a little longer for it to come down, and Patrick Wisdom lifts this one out to left field. Tough sun sky, and no chance from Martin. Drops in. Duffy scores on the Wisdom Sun single.
We know it's tough in left field today. That is the second time that we have seen this in this game. Joey Gallo got himself a hit with a high fly ball that he hit to left field. But, I mean, Martin, you could tell he had no idea where that baseball was. And it's no fault of his own. He has his glasses on. He's trying to use his glove. He just can't see it. An absolute battle here in Arizona right now in left field, as it usually is throughout spring training. That's tough when you're sitting here trying to judge a player. Obviously, you have to play half your games on the road. But when you think about some of these high sky places, Arizona's, of course, going to have the roof on it. Not that the Rangers go there that often anyway. You get a roof at home. Oh, I just don't feel like we see that a ton during the season.
You don't. Nothing like this. Nothing even close to this. It's possible to lose one at, I don't know, I guess just about any ballpark. It could happen. But not the way it happens here. There's zero chance of picking that ball up again. One strike on Higgins here. Nobody out. Top of the fifth. So here's my question, though, about that visit. We were a little curious. It seemed, I don't know, premature or whatever. But the swings continue to be aggressive and confident from the Cubs. It is the second time through the order. And I just wonder if there's something that he does, maybe tips a little bit or something, and maybe that was the conversation, like, hey, remember, you know, you're a fan of the glove or whatever.
It's always a possibility. I think part of it might have just been a quick breather after some hard contact. Remember, Arihara is not going to be a guy that is going to overpower hitters. It's a deep repertoire, and so maybe for some of these Cubs hitters just feeling a little bit more comfortable, or who knows, maybe Doug Mathis saw something and wanted to go out and talk to his pitcher about it. It could have been strategy. Could have been whatever they may be working on a little bit different today and reminding him, or hey, let's try this here, or you know, let's just say there's some kind of key mechanically on the four-seam fastball to keep it straight. We talked about it a lot today. Maybe they saw him getting away from it. Hey, you know, we're trying to keep that front side closed a little bit longer on the four-seam. You're leaking a little bit after the, you know, the hard contact. Just make sure you stay close so that thing can stay true. Now, I completely made that up. I don't know if that's what it is, but that could be the kind of conversation that took place as well.
That's a 2 balls and 2 strikes on Higgins, who's lined out today, 0 for 1. And he takes a healthy rip at this one. And Martin makes the catch. That's a tough little play right there. That one almost carried over his head. Able to get the glove on it and reel it in for out number 1.
A very nice catch there from Martin. Another healthy swing, though, here from the Cubs, as you mentioned, second time through the order. Battling that sun once again. A little bit easier because the ball wasn't as high, so you can get that read. Still a nice job by Martin. Because you know he's feeling terrible about what happened. Even though it's only a spring training game, you just want to make those plays all the time. And I don't even think it was really his fault, like I said earlier.
So 1 away for Nick Martini, the designated hitter.
So I mentioned to Emily about maybe, you know, the Zooms will happen. The post-game interviews happen during the game in spring training. So I don't know if Arihara is going to throw another one after this or not, but usually within 30 minutes or so, he'll join the group and answer questions from the writers. We don't get that opportunity because we're in the middle of the broadcast, but Emily sneaks away. So I said, hey, I may have a couple for you today. And certainly there are a lot. There are more than a couple, which is a problem because we're limited. We're allowed to ask 2 questions essentially as you go around. And the writers have their work to do, and everyone has questions to ask. I'm hoping maybe possibly Emily can ask her 2 and then maybe ask 2. I mean, I think we should get 6, really.
Yeah.
2 for me, 2 for you, 2 for Emily. So
You're really trying to get me in trouble here, aren't you?
Well, no, but there's so many different ways to go, right? So the idea now of how do we really, you know, that I think Dave brought up a good point about the meeting. What happened at the meeting? What was that about?
So I have been listening to you guys, which I rarely do, but I have been today.
Welcome to the broadcast.
And I wrote down, ask him about the 2-seam or 4-seam on the homer to Peterson, and then the visit from Dougie in the 4th.
Yeah, that's a good one. I also, I have so many. I am curious now. We're supposed to keep it game specific in the post game if we can, in the interviews. I am wondering, and I hadn't had a chance to ask him this yet, about spring training. Now that it's the end of spring training, how did his first MLB spring training go? There are stark differences based on what they do in Japan, and probably the biggest one is off days. The Rangers had 2 off days, I believe, this spring. Usually you only have 1 in spring training. In Japan, it was, at least when I was there, practice for 3 days, off day. The whole spring training. So there were multiple off days. And I remember a Japanese pitcher that I played with who actually went through camp with the Cubs, gosh, probably 8 or 9 years ago, was telling me he had such a hard time in spring training with the lack of off days. So I'm curious for Arihara how the spring training went in the sense of the actual work schedule and the lack of off days compared to how they usually do it in Japan. Did his body feel that at all? Was that a big difference? Was there a tough adjustment for him?
So, Emily, when the opportunity presents itself to say by proxy for CJ, who doesn't understand the rules of Zoom, I want to ask a general spring training question.
I mean, just really eliminate any possible potential backlash you'll feel get for asking that question.
I'm just going to pretend like I'm Evan Grant and ask as many questions as I want to.
There you go.
It's a good way to look at it. Just blow right through that stop sign you might be getting from the PR folks. Just blow
I got
through.
You guys.
But that's one I'm interested in. Just now it's the end of spring training because this is the right time to ask them.
I'm going to push my luck, and I'm going 3 questions.
Oh, my.
I love it.
All right. Well, because I have another. Let's take a look at this replay here. And another strikeout here from Arihara. I think this was the split look like. You can see that downward action. He also does turn his changeup over really well, but I believe that was probably the split finger. Yep, there it is. Very nice. Pitch count. So we know he pitched a lot last year. This is very difficult information to find. What was his max pitches or somewhere near per start last year? Like what was his average? Was, because they'll throw more pitches over there too. Generally. Now, he fills up the strike zone a ton, pitches to contact. So I'm guessing that his pitch counts didn't get too high. But I am kind of curious, what his average start was and where he's comfortable with a total pitch count. 4 questions.
Yep, I think that's a great one.
I just haven't been able to get to the times that it just hasn't worked out where I've been able to ask him some questions. And then, of course, I expect this to be completely in Japanese. So, good luck. Ganbatte kudasai, Emily. Ganbatte. That means good luck.
Davis, now with his first at bat of the day, I believe. He came in as a runner for Happ last inning. One from Arihara. Brett Martin is expected to throw in today's game for the Rangers. And if Arihara can just get through this 5th inning, I'm sure he would start the 6th clean. But I would gather there's a limit. This inning, Arihara at 74 pitches. This may indeed be his last hitter. Davis may have accommodated him beautifully with that ground ball to shortstop. Hernandez throws him out, and the inning is done. Cubs do pick up a run, but a solid 5 innings for Kohei Arihara.
We don't want to overhype the return of the quesalupa from Taco Bell, so we're skipping all the fanfare.
Oh, man.
We'll just tell you, the quesalupa's cheese stuffed shell is back, and we think you'll like it.
And Doug.
Hey, Limu. How great is it that we get to tell everybody how Liberty Mutual customizes your car insurance so you only pay for what you need? I mean, oh, sorry. Whoops. Meow, good evening. Meow. Nope. Oh, what? I'm an emu. No, buddy. Buddy, it's a filter. Only pay for what you need.
Liberty, 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 liberty.
Maybe it's only a feeling, only a dream, only a day trip that lasts long after sundown. Maybe it's only a weekend or a moment. But sometimes those only things are the only things that matter. The Jeep Grand Cherokee. There's only one.
Now get 0% financing for 72 months on select 2021 Jeep Grand Cherokee models. Plus, get no additional charge maintenance with the Jeep Wave Customer Care Program.
How does a business reach peak performance? Faster communication, easier collaboration, better teamwork. That's why high-performance organizations rely on high-performance technology solutions. And who do they choose to help them? Mitel. Making communications and collaboration seamless so businesses can stay connected, engage customers and fans, and win at the highest level. The most important calls in baseball and in business are made with Mitel, powering connections for thousands of peak performance organizations worldwide.
Whoa, Susan.
Oh, I'm looking for coupon codes.
Well, Capital One Shopping instantly searches for available coupon codes and automatically applies them. It's called shopping smart, not hard.
But I don't have a Capital One card.
You should get one, but you don't need it for this. Just download Capital One Shopping to your computer. It's free.
Ooh, save me some cheddar.
So, when's the party? I love fondue.
Really?
I never joke about hot cheese, Susan.
Me neither.
Capital One Shopping. It's kind of genius. What's in your wallet?
From muscle pains to strains, Blue Emu Maximum Pain Relief with Emu Oil penetrates deep to relieve arthritis pain and more. Blue Emu Maximum Pain Relief, the official pain relief cream of NASCAR and MLB.
Good morning. This is MLB Central.
The homer and 3 RBI in last night's win.
Welcome to the big leagues. He's got all the tools. Boom!
Two of the best offenses back at it tonight.
That's how you begin a season.
We hope you're enjoying this spring training game presented by Taco Bell. Due to time constraints, we now move ahead in action.
Meanwhile, one of the other stories this spring has been this battle at first base. What are the Rangers going to do? When you look at the games, similar. Average, definitely in favor of Ronald Guzman, as are the power numbers, OPS, whatnot. But Nate Lowe was told that it will be his job to start the season to be the everyday first baseman, which is interesting.
It is, because if you sit here and look at these offensive numbers, you would say, well, if it was a true competition, then it wasn't even close. Of course, Ronald Guzman has been here with the Rangers, and he also had a great winner, right? MVP in the Dominican Winter League, and so he's been making the improvements that they have asked him to make. So I'm sure that even though he says all the right things, there has to be some frustration there, knowing he had such a great spring, such a great winter, and then to not get the starting nod at first base this year for the Rangers, at least to start the season. But I would say this. I think, my guess, not anything that Woody or anybody else has said, is they want to get a look at Nate Lowe. They traded for him, brought him over this winter, and they would like to see what they have in him. And there's some flexibility that they also have with Nate Lowe. He does have an option left. They can option him to the minor leagues. Ronald Guzman does not have any options. So if they were to try to send essentially Ronald Guzman to the minor leagues, they expose him to waivers, which means any other team could claim him. And based on his winter and his spring training, I think there probably would be a team or two that would take a shot at Ronald Guzman. So they want to get a look at Nate Lowe. Guzzi's on the team as well. He'll get some opportunities to DH. We may even see him in the outfield.
Yeah.
But the thing that's so weird about it is he is an unbelievably defensive first baseman. And so it's like, well, okay, he's going to play some other positions, but are you a weaker team when he's not playing first? Because he is so good defensively.
Well, I mean, you could see the late inning defensive substitution working in there as well. And he, look, he was hitting the ball in the Dominican. He was hitting the ball during spring training. So if you can get him, semi-regular at bats for a while here, no matter how it is that you try to work him in, you could use him defensively late, not feel like you're giving up anything really offensively. Meanwhile, Brett Martin on in relief. And there's a swing and a miss at a pitch in the dirt, and quickly 2 up, 2 down. Spring games are all about getting players ready for the season, and Rangers Insider is the best way for fans like you to get ready for the season. Sign up for free today. You get exclusive offers, pre-sale notifications, plus Rangers news and highlights sent directly to you. Go to TexasRangers.com/insider. All right, the lefty gets a offer at the very first pitch in his third at bat, and just like that, Martin carves up the Cubs on some 6 pitches in his half of the 6th. It's 8-3.
You're right. That's a 5th floor problem.
Not in my house.
No, no, no. Not today.
Jimmy, how happy are folks who save hundreds of dollars switching to Geico?
Happier than Dikembe Mutombo blocking a shot.
Nice.
Get happy. Get Geico. 15 minutes could save you 15% or more.
Our produce standards are more than a label. It's a promise that every fruit on your table was chosen by someone who thinks farmers rule and supported organic before it was cool. There's mighty high standards in that salad bowl because that's what makes us whole.
I'm Draymond Green with my Subway sub with tender steak and melty cheese.
My sub is gonna dunk all over your sub.
Excuse me?
My sub has bacon.
Choose better, be better, and now save when you order in the app. Subway, eat fresh.
But not Jason's sub.
I'm a member of American Home Shield, which means this faucet may be freaking out, but I'm not.
All good here.
Something's wrong with my AC. It's blowing pretty hard and it won't turn off. Luckily, I'm a member of American Home Shield. My plan helps cover the cost when parts of more than 20 home appliances and systems wear out. If they can't repair them, they'll replace them.
American Home Shield is the largest and pays the most home warranty claims.
It covers things home insurance doesn't, no matter their age. It's a beautiful day.
I've never felt so good.
For a free quote, go to ahs.com. That's ahs.com. Hey, Janice!
Training game presented by Taco Bell. Due to time constraints, we now move ahead in action.
Vincent finishing up his warm-ups and ready to go. 7 strikeouts, no walks so far for Rangers pitching today through 6 innings.
I feel like we've spent so much time today talking about the approach offensively for this team. And that's been a huge focus. The other focus is just enormous. And I feel like maybe has been talked about even more, at least by Chris Woodward and his briefings with the media and whatnot, is this mandate to throw strikes. Like this, there's no time, there's no tolerance for deep counts and walking guys. Davis Wenzel at third base picks up the ground ball and completes the first out of the inning.
I think it's a pretty good mandate to lay down for sure. I mean, if you want to, I mean, we've heard a lot of talk about establishing culture this spring training, but just the idea of kind of what's the mantra of the club. And that's an easy one for any club, but they got to fill up the strike zone more and maybe not satisfied with the way things have gone over the last couple of seasons, and making sure that message is clear. And then, listen, they've had a couple of bad games this spring where the walks have creeped up on them and have gotten high, and it's just something it doesn't play. It's never going to play.
Well, Vincent, it's a swing and a miss. 1-1 the count. I want to say we saw a lot of Nick Vincent when he was with Seattle last year with the Marlins. It's off the plate, 2-1. A guy with some experience under his belt, 34 years old. Rangers signed him in February. Left that one up a little bit, and it's gone. Well, that's just a touch. And Avellino gets it over that left field fence. It's 8-4.
Looked like this might have been a slider here from Nick Vincent. See where the target is and see where this pitch ends up. That ball was above the zone. Not an easy pitch to get on top of, but nice job to hit that line drive on that pitch.
All right, so a 4-run lead. First pitch swinging. That one sneaks through into left field. Another base hit. Patrick Wisdom delivers his second hit of the ball game.
Remember when Patrick was with the Rangers in the offseason, there was a lot of conversation about would he be the guy taking over for Adrian Beltre. Probably unfair for him to have to answer those questions that winter, but third base was going to be a competition. There was going to be some opportunities, and Patrick was brought over from the St. Louis Cardinals at the time. Was a guy who looked like he may have had a shot to be the next Rangers third baseman.
So Vincent back to the plate that time. Pardon me, a little bit in.
Watching these spring training games also has me very excited to get back into Globe Life Field because of the camera angle. I think about how far offset we are right now, and of course at Globe Life Field we got the nice head-on view. You can see the pitches really well. The movement on the pitches, location is really accurate. There was somebody else's spring training game I was watching the other day that it was so far off-centered. It was really discouraging trying to watch the game. It didn't feel right at all. And that's only just because there's only so many places you can put your cameras.
Boy, Higgins smacks one into left field. Back-to-back singles. So Vincent not missing many bats in the seventh inning.
Take a look at this pitch. On the breaking ball, this one in the zone, but hanging up there just a little bit for Higgins.
All right, so a couple of runners out there. The DH. No, that's not Nick Martini, is it? That looks like Chase Strumpf. So Strumpf with the opportunity, at least. That's what my roster says.
Yeah, that's what it says for number 98.
But does his back say Martini?
No, it looks like the first letter's a P. We haven't gotten a good look at it yet. Is it Tyler Payne?
Tyler Payne?
But he's wearing the wrong jersey.
He is.
Or he's misnumbered. So here's the question.
Is he misnumbered or misnamed?
Is it exactly? Oh, that's 96.
96. And do we have?
They had him down as 97. So they were, listen, points are being close, right? It's like horseshoes. If you're close, you can still score.
So you know how it's kind of a nightmare sometimes, right, with the players coming and going and guys in and out of the game. It's hard to keep track of it and everything. And, you know, as broadcasters, you need help. This one flared into center. That'll load the bases as they'll go station to station. But, of course, we need some help, right? The PR guys, like, it's a nearly impossible game for them to keep up with. All the number changes and moving parts. You have the minor league clubhouses in usual years with the major league clubhouses, guys coming over just in case, etc. It's just, it's part of the fun.
It's a grind. You need a spotter almost, like in football.
You do.
We have somebody in your booth with binoculars keeping an eye on all the moves. My favorite part of that whole thing was that as we first thought, oh, is it Martini? And you said, no, that looks like Strumpf, as if you know what he looks like. You said it as if you were familiar with him.
Oh, no. I based totally on the number. I was like, well, it looks like Chase Strumpf because the number's 98. And yet I'm with you. Like, it didn't look like a curvy letter to be the first letter on the name. Well, this one in the air out to right field. Not going to carry too far. Garcia hauls it in deep enough to get home a run and make it 8-5 on the Davis sacrifice fly. But they're 2 away. So a little Cubs rally here. A couple of runs in the innings. Made it a little closer. And brings up Andy Weber. Remember Kevin to play shortstop. Gravel Gertie here. Good to hear that voice. Bouncer right side. Knocked down, no play. Another run is in. That's one where I think Curtis Terry had more time maybe than he felt like initially.
Yeah, because if he comes up with that cleanly, he probably flips to Nick Vincent. Let's see here. Yeah, second half kind of got him. He slipped a little bit, too. You see that back foot kind of slip. Once he bobbled it, not much anybody could do.
Well, so the bases are still loaded now in a two-run game. Sorry, not loaded. First and second. But again, with two out, don't have to do anything real special here to get out of the inning. We're good. That's a strike. 1-1. Two and one. First at bat of the game, or I take that back. Second at bat of the game, I believe, for Ortega. Ooh. Ripped foul. Well, Nick Vincent is getting his work in the seventh inning. Over 20 pitches now.
Did you go error on that last one, that ground ball to Terry?
I did.
Yeah, I did too.
Little chopper, right side, another difficult play. Good charge and flip to first. Terry held on to it, and the inning is done. Boy, that looks like such a meager little roller, but a really challenging play. Inning is done. It's a two-run game.
Come on.
Whoa, Susan.
Oh, I'm looking for coupon codes.
Well, Capital One Shopping instantly searches for available coupon codes and automatically applies them. It's called shopping smart, not hard.
But I don't have a Capital One card.
You should get one, but you don't need it for this. Just download Capital One Shopping to your computer. It's free.
Ooh, save me some cheddar.
So, when's the party? I love fondue.
Really?
I never joke about hot cheese, Susan.
Me neither.
Capital One Shopping. It's kind of genius. What's in your wallet?
At Philadelphia, we know what makes the perfect schmear of cream cheese. The recipe we invented over 145 years ago, and me, the world's best, and possibly only, schmelier. Philadelphia, schmear perfection.
Diane retired and opened that pottery studio.
How'd you come up with all these backstories?
I got help from a pro. My financial professional explained to me all the ways Nationwide can help protect financial futures in Peytonville.
Nationwide can help the Greens get lifetime income. As their son Kyle's moving back home, it helped set up a financial plan for Mrs. Garcia.
And he explained how Nationwide could help Mr. Paisley retire early and spend more time with his pal Peyton.
And their new band.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Don't forget the band.
I haven't.
Psst, psst.
Allergies don't have to be scary. Spraying Flonase daily stops your body from overreacting to allergens all season long. Psst, psst. You're good.
Spring is finally here, and you're just itching to upgrade your stuff. The best way to do that is in a new Hyundai, like the Santa Fe with an available class-exclusive digital smartphone key and loads of the latest technology. Drive your upgrade home instead of having it delivered, although we can do that too during the Hyundai Spring Upgrade event.
Get 0% APR for 60 months on select vehicles, plus 0 payments for 90 days. Hurry, sale ends soon.
They have right now projected, one of the websites I use, Roster Resource, Jason Martinez does a great job of keeping up with rosters, trying to predict based on all the news, where a team's going to slide, what are they doing. And Bill Maples is at least penciled in. I don't know if he got official word or not that he's going to be on the ball club. Jason has him in there, one of 9 relievers that he has on that Cubs roster to go along with their standard 5-man rotation. So they may be going 14 pitchers to start the season in Chicago. That seems like a lot. It looks like a lot when you look at it on paper.
That seems absurd to me. There's a strikeout of DeShields to get us going here in the 7th.
We've seen this with Delino over the course of his career. Right on right, breaking ball that expands the zone has been an issue for him. And the ability of laying off that pitch. You can see Delino kind of caught in between on that swing. My favorite thing they do on that website is not only do they list the relievers, but they'll also try to put the roles in there. Where do they think guys are going to slide in? Middle reliever, long reliever, closer. For the Toronto Blue Jays, they have 4 closers listed.
Luxury.
Excessive, yeah. All right-handed.
You like 4 wins every game?
Maybe.
Huge. Well, Maples got the strikeout of DeShields and ahead of Wenzel 0-2. That one up and in.
I think that was absurd. The Braves have 10 relievers listed. And this is not like guessing. This is
5 starters and 10 relievers?
4 starters right now. That's probably part of it.
Because there's clearly no team's going to carry 15 pitchers, right?
No.
Well, you could argue in the National League, right, that an extra pitcher is fine, makes sense, over what you might do in the American League. I think in the American League, with the DH and whatnot, you gotta, I don't know. I feel like you gotta have 13 position players.
Yeah, I would think so. Right, 4-man bench if you want to go that route. But we know that pitching is going to be an issue this year. And early on, all depends on your schedule as well, right? How many off days do you have early?
Yeah, and the makeup of that rotation, what does it look like? How do you cobble together the innings? With the payoff pitch. And there's ball 4. So Wenzel takes the base.
So you're talking about rotations and things that we're going to see a little differently in 2021. And I think there's a lot of different, let's say experiments, but some different ideas that teams are going to try to implement, and how do they best protect their pitchers. Well, for the Texas Rangers, 3 starters, traditional starters is kind of the plan right now. Kyle Gibson, Mike Fultonevich, and Kohei Arihara, who you saw today, not necessarily in that order. Outside, I know that Gibson will be the starter. The other part of that, if we have an opportunity to take a look at it, is also what's going on in the other 2 spots of the rotation. And we are going to have what Chris Woodward has been referring to as a tandem spot, 2 tandem spots, where there will be 2 essential relievers that can give you anywhere from 2 to 4 innings. They'll be scheduled to pitch that day. So in a perfect world, when things go really well, the Rangers might get 6 to 7 innings out of 2 pitchers. And then hopefully you can then hand it off to your late inning relievers. Now, nothing always goes according to plan, but that's kind of the idea right now. Part of that, I think, is to help protect some of those arms, and they feel like that's also a way to be a little bit more efficient And this, if it goes well, it gives you a little bit more of a chance to win some games, I think, as well, as opposed to maybe pushing a little bit too hard on some young arms.
And I guess if you had, let's say, one of your tandems has a tough day, right? Throws inning in 2/3. Well, ostensibly you could use him for an inning, right?
Yes.
The next day or whatever.
Yeah, depending on the total, I think that's absolutely something we could see happen. Hopefully we don't see those bad outings, right? But if you have one, let's just say, because here's the thing, they're not probably going to do this in the 4th and the 5th spot in the rotation. Likely to be the 3rd and the 5th spot in the rotation. So let's just say you're in that position. It's the 3rd time around, and you still have, at least 4 days in between, but maybe 5 before you're asked to do that again. Absolutely, you'll be available to throw out of the bullpen an inning or two and then still make that quote-unquote tandem start. Or they may just flip-flop you with the other guy, and then that guy's going to get the start next time around. There'll be a lot of moving parts that we'll do our best to kind of break down for you and help you follow along. But it'll be a little bit of a different look a couple of times in that Rangers rotation this year.
Check in over at first base on Wenzel, but 2 gone. And Martin up there. There's Davis. The Baylor Bear. He's going. And the throw down to second base. Well, Weber couldn't quite hold on to it, and Wenzel has a stolen base.
Looked like almost a great catch and tag here on the pick. Didn't happen. A jump, pretty good one there from Wenzel. But watch this right here. Look like a pick and tag. And we know that the Chicago Cubs have a shortstop that can do that and does it really well. That is not Javi Baez out there right now. Single-handedly made tagging cool to Javi Baez. Tags were never looked at as a way to look cool or do something flashy. He owns that. That's his.
Basically invented the concept.
But the confidence of, we've seen him do this a couple of times. Guy's trying to steal a base. Throw comes in. He tags the runner, sometimes without even looking, and then points to the catcher to tell him what a great job before any call's been made. It's got to sting as a base runner when that happens. I mean, that is the bat flip version of tagging a guy out.
Yes, exactly. I was just going to say that. Like, the whole no showing another guy up, right, like, has to extend to other places than just bat flips or pitchers puffing out their chest. It's the same thing. But then if that's going to be an issue, then guys, pulling into second with a double and, well, I don't know, kind of celebrating out there, right? Like, why isn't that an issue? It's so weird to me, the various things that are.
Yeah, I would say that, I guess, if you're looking into your dugout, it's not as, a little more common. I mean, they're all becoming common now anyway.
Sure.
But
another strikeout in a good inning. Dylan Maples strikes out the side. And we go to the 8th.
We don't want to overhype the return of the quesalupa from Taco Bell, so we're skipping all the fanfare.
Oh, man.
We'll just tell you, the quesalupa's cheese stuffed shell is back, and we think you'll like it.
Grammarly is your personal writing assistant for clear emails, confident messages, stronger essays, and more. Because sometimes the kitchen table is the office and the classroom. Grammarly offers suggestions to help you get work done from anywhere. It covers everything from correcting grammatical errors to rewording a phrase for an easier read, so you and your kids can learn to be better writers every time you type. Use it on your computer or phone for a stronger, more confident delivery wherever you write. Write with Grammarly. Download today at Grammarly.com.
Love you, Dad.
Love you all. Miss you all. Stay safe.
These past few months haven't been easy, but they've reminded us that no matter what, there's no place like home. Now, more than ever, with rates at historic lows, home has new meaning. Home means everything.
You need a loan? Daddy, it's for you.
Searching for meaning in a relentless world. Always connected, but somehow alone. Trapped by illusion. We offer another path, where the battle to belong begins. Awakened by a calling. United by the cause you fight for. No one can take away what it means to be among the few, the proud, the Marines.
So we will not see the Cubs this year, right? We don't see anybody in the National League Central with any interleague play. So this is your last look at the Cubs. What do you think of the National League Central? About a division that's up for grabs. It doesn't seem like there is a favorite anywhere. The Cubs, obviously, they lost Yu Darvish, traded him to the San Diego Padres, but they still have a couple of big name players. They also have some big decisions to make. Like, they could be a team that if they're in it, then they're in it. If not, they have some names that teams might be interested in trading for, like Chris Bryant, like Javi Baez. Javi Baez is a free agent at the end of the year. Anthony Rizzo. Like, they have some big decisions to make here with some of their big name players that, if they're not competitive, could end up on other teams by the end of the season.
Yeah, that division really has been so interesting in I don't know how many years now it's been. The last, let's call it 5 years, right? Where Cincinnati's battled. St. Louis continues to get stronger.
Nolan Arenado, now a member of the St. Louis Cardinals. Yeah. They all have their strengths. They all have their weaknesses. For me, not one of them really sticks out as a team that could run away with the division outside of the Pirates.
Pirates is the one team that does stick out for the wrong reasons.
I feel like any of those other four, including the Milwaukee Brewers. The Reds are interesting. They trade away their closer, Raisel Iglesias. They have a pretty good team. Their lineup just didn't perform last year. Nick Castellanos, Joey Votto, Eugenio Suarez, Mike Moustakas all had down years. Still have Sonny Gray. I think he's dealing with a little bit of a back issue. Might not be ready to start the season, but they have some good players with good track records.
Yeah, I'm not ready to say that they couldn't win it or be a factor in that division.
I think any of those four could win it. The Milwaukee Brewers are taking Keston Hiura, moving him over to first base because they signed Colton Wong to play second. They brought in Jackie Bradley Jr. They have one of the best relievers in the game in Josh Hader. Maybe two of the best with Devin Williams in the year that he had. I have a better chance at picking the four teams that are going to go to the NCAA Final Four than figuring out
about that.
Ranking the four teams in the National League Central.
Well, there's definitely been a sense in the last couple of years that the Cubs run is basically over. It's winding down and that they need to, start thinking about reshaping things for a future run. Joe Madden left. Darvish
had a great year. Yeah, they were lucky, I think, that he bounced back the way that he did and then get value in trading him to the Padres.
But I every year they're right in the mix, and I don't know. I mean, I'm not as familiar with them. I don't keep as close tabs on the Cubs to know if their system's terribly depleted or.
Well, Nico Horner, who we talked about earlier, Ian Happ, these are emerging guys that they have that are already big leaguers. I don't know what when it comes to the minor leagues, I'm with you. I don't pay that close attention because you just don't know what's going to happen. One of those players are going to get there, and then who they are when they get there. But it's an interesting time in Chicago, I think, for the Cubs and which way they decide to do this. And you talked about Jed Hoyer taking over. Not only did he take over now for Theo Epstein, but they gave him a 5-year contract, right? So he's in it for the long haul. Which to me, I'm a believer. If you're going to be out, be out. I know fans get really frustrated with it, but the idea of moving on from some of those big pieces, you have time to do it. They've done it. I mean, listen, the Cubs fans, it paid off for them, right? They went through a deep rebuild. They probably didn't like it. It turned into a world championship a couple of years later. So I think they have an appetite to some degree for it. if they decide to not sign back Chris Bryant. And I think they did actually make Anthony Rizzo. I thought I read the other day or saw a headline that they did offer him a contract extension. But nothing done yet.
So, a little visit. Make sure everybody gets back on track after a day where the Rangers just had not walked anybody. A.J. Alexy, back-to-back walks in this 8th inning. He was optioned to Frisco almost 2 weeks ago now, or right about 2 weeks ago. There's some injuries in recent years that have been an issue. But Alexy was part of that Yu Darvish deal a few years ago with the Dodgers. Brought Willie Calhoun to the Rangers. Check swing foul. Here's the deal, though, right? If you're the Cubs, they've just launched their own team television network, too, right?
Yeah, Marquee Sports.
Yeah, and so I know those things can sort of be factors in the way teams think about how they want to approach their future. Ideally, you know, you'd be in it, and you'd be a contender for your new network, get it on everybody's map. Plus blowing it up. We talk about that all the time, right? It's like, well, get all in on the rebuild. Whew.
Yeah, it's tough.
Yeah.
And there's no guarantee of anything. That's the other part, right? I mean, you think about that World Series that the Cubs won. Was that 2016? They very easily could not have won that World Series. Actually could have got eliminated earlier. If you go back and trace that postseason, you could say that about any team, but it really was close a couple of times. Even what the Indians had a 3-1 lead in that World Series. And so if they don't win it, now you're looking back at the Cubs going, what are we doing? What have we done? Why did we go through that rebuild? It wasn't worth it, right? It wasn't worth struggling, even though you got close and contended. But once you get the World Series, I think it's easy to say, yeah, that's why we did it. And it worked out, even though you know it's so easy not to win that World Series and how difficult it can be. I'm with you. Listen, as much as I say that, I don't like watching it. When I say that if you're going to be out, be out, I think it makes the most business sense. But from an entertainment standpoint, it's brutal. It's brutal to watch that. It can be tough on your fans. And you can't guarantee anything coming out.
No, you can't. Hard ground ball. That one's through. May just tie up this ball game. Garcia has a good arm. They'll get one run in. And they'll hold the runner at third. So 8-7, but Cubs on the corners.
Alexy did a nice job of jumping ahead, but could not finish. Hit her off. Look at that fastball. He probably wanted a little bit more down. It was up. That's a nice piece of hitting. And take that pitch to right field.
Saw the tying run 90 feet away. Patrick Wisdom has had a couple of hits already today. And he got underneath it. Gift out. Indeed. One away. All right, let's see if Emily's done her homework.
I did it, guys. I asked
Nice.
all the questions.
All of them? Like how many?
It was 5. It was aggressive.
Were you reprimanded?
I was not, but I jumped off as soon as I stopped asking questions, so I wasn't reprimanded.
So you may
If
have.
I was,
You're
I
just
wasn't
unaware.
there for it. Okay, so on the home run to Peterson, that was a 4-seam, misses spot.
Yeah, a little bit of run on that one. That's interesting. We'll keep an eye on that this year.
Yeah, the visit from Doug in the 4th, nothing really. Said just keep it going. So I did feel like it was strange timing. I definitely want to ask Dougie about it. And then the spring training schedule, CJ, you were right. He said it was harder on him because there were so few days off. He said, though, toward the end of it, he did feel like he got used to it and his body got used to it.
That's good to know.
And then pitch count, he said 80 to 90 was standard for him in Japan. 100
Really?
max.
Wow.
Yeah.
Now
80 to 90?
I find that fascinating.
Yeah.
Wait, I'm sorry. And what was the max?
100.
What? 100.
Well, if you think about it, even for him, as much as he got to play that entire season, he didn't put up a absurd amount of innings. Right, so perhaps they were a little
132.
careful with him. Yeah, 132 innings. Now he made, what, 20 starts last year. So he's averaging a little better than 6 innings per start, so maybe they didn't push him too hard.
There gets the tying run to the plate on a failed pick off the first.
Pretty big lead, so not a bad idea at all. And I got to tell you, my first thought was, is that an error on Alexi? But I think that's probably an error on Terry.
Oh, yeah.
Looked like a pretty decent throw.
Yep.
Well, that's good work, Emily. That's good to know.
All right. This one lofted out to Garcia. 2 gone. Was there more, Em?
That's it. I mean, I feel like I exhausted my number of questions.
But here's the thing, I think there's a lot of value in those, in all those questions and things that we need to know about him going into the season as we take a look at his day. And it was a good one for Kohei Arihara. Last tune-up, spring training, good life on that fastball. We saw some swings and misses. We saw some strikes looking as well as he continues to figure out what's going to work against these big league hitters this year. But I've got to tell you, the four-seam fastball, the home run, and he said missed a spot that had a little bit of leak to it. That's the thing that will be worth keeping an eye on this year, I think, with him.
Chopper up the middle. And we'll go to the bottom of the 8th inning, tied at 8.
You're right. That's a 5th floor problem.
Not in my house. No. Not today.
Jimmy, how happy are folks who save hundreds of dollars switching to Geico?
Happier than Dikembe Mutombo blocking a shot.
Nice.
Get happy. Get Geico. 15 minutes could save you 15% or more.
Introducing New Degree Body Wash, made with Epsom salt and electrolytes, designed to reset muscles in the shower.
Charge up? Wow.
Try New Degree Maximum Recovery.
I'm a member of American Home Shield, which means this faucet may be freaking out, but I'm not.
All good here.
Something's wrong with my AC. It's blowing pretty hard and won't turn off. Luckily, I'm a member of American Home Shield. My plan helps cover the cost when parts of more than 20 home appliances and systems wear out. If they can't repair them, they'll replace them.
American Home Shield is the largest and pays the most home warranty claims.
It covers things home insurance doesn't, no matter their age. It's a beautiful day.
I've never felt so good.
For a free quote, go to ahs.com. That's ahs.com. Hey, Janice!
Well, we'll see. The other thing I think that could be a factor in that is this idea that certainly at the beginning of the year, the roof is going to be open unless it's raining. Right? It could be pretty chilly. It could be pretty warm. But as I understand it, the idea of getting as many fans in as possible, part of that is contingent upon leaving the roof open. And we did not see a lot of that last year. Just a handful of times we saw a game with the roof open, and the ballpark played incredibly differently than it did with it closed. So we'll see.
So what was the final conclusion? Was there a number? Did I hear that somewhere on a radio broadcast where they were talking about how far they thought the ball actually would travel? There was so much talk about baseballs traveling this winter and the change in baseballs and everything else. But as far as the roof was open, they felt like, or am I making this up? 4 to 6 more feet? Did I just?
Well, no, I think you might be talking about the changed baseball for this year, right?
Okay.
Not so much the conditions. There was so Garcia walked and now will be lifted for a pinch runner. But the modified baseball that they're using this year will travel basically 3 feet less, I think, on balls hit, whatever it is, 320 feet or more.
Okay.
So that's the one number I heard. In terms of the carry in the ballpark, I don't know if they've been able to quantify that yet. And Curtis Terry with a big swing and a miss. 0-2.
But do we feel like it carried? I can't remember.
Oh, yeah.
Like
the roof open?
Yeah, carried a pretty decent amount, right?
Mm-hmm.
Somebody asked me this the other day, and I was pretty sure I remembered correctly. It's the Rangers' decision until, what, the last month of the season? Is that right?
Major League Baseball?
Yeah. Major League Baseball takes over at some point.
Yeah, that's a good question. Terry pops this one up. One away. Because you're right. I feel like I do remember Major League Baseball.
They do that on rain delays.
Yeah.
Right? I thought that also had something to do with.
I think there is something roof related that way. I know in the postseason, they certainly have the ability to make that decision. And controversially, they have in the past. Going back to, I want to say, the 2005 World Series. Bubba Thompson, by the way, the runner at first base. With the flare out over second. That one drops in for a hit. Thompson heading for third. No throw offered. Go ahead run is at third base now.
So talking about that offense and what did things look like at home last year for the Rangers? Well, break that down for you month by month. Of course, we opened the season in July. Just 5 games played in the ballpark. It was kind of weird, the kind of way that season worked out. But I felt like the Rangers almost got a little bit more comfortable. We started seeing a little bit more offensive production from them as the season went on. And you see what they did in September, 5.2 runs per game. That's a pace that they would like to see throughout the season this year.
Hicks 0 for 2 hits this one up the middle, and that will give the Rangers the lead. Thompson scores from third base on the RBI hit by Hicks, and it's 9-8.
Is that pitch fastball trying to go in, misses up and away. Good job by Hicks just to poke this thing right up the middle.
Right, Drew Butera. Butera 0 for 1. And then fouls that one off.
So Drew Butera did re-sign right with the Rangers. He did not make the club. There was a backup battle. Who was going to back up Jose Trevino behind the plate between him and Jonah Heim. Heim won that job, but Butera has agreed to stay with the organization.
Yeah, that's the case a lot of times this time of year. Did I see that Todd Frazier, though, is a free agent?
He is. Did not make the club in Pittsburgh. Now, in that situation, it does not make a ton of sense to go to the minor leagues if you're him.
Right. Well, chopper down the third baseline, just foul.
Because it would have made sense to have him on that team. I don't think they have a position player over 30 years old. I think everyone is under 30. So bringing in a guy like Todd Frazier, listen, he wants to keep playing, but there's also a mentorship kind of opportunity available there. And remember last year where he was here for just a month or so with the Rangers, but it was first spring training, second spring training. So a lot of the Rangers players got to spend a pretty good amount of time with Todd Frazier, and they raved about their time with him. I think it was Joey said, like, instantly his favorite teammate. Like, that's how much Todd Frazier really can mean to a clubhouse. Well, if I'm the Pirates, I'm looking at their team right now. It's the kind of guy I'd like to have around. He had a good spring, but it just didn't work. So he is a free agent, and we'll see if he'll get that opportunity to latch on with somebody. It's a tough spot to be in this late in spring. But I would say probably maybe a bench piece. We know corner infield, could play third, could play first, DH for you. And he's still got some pop in that bat.
Butera works the count full here. James Norwood on a relief. Walk and a couple of singles. Rangers have retaken the lead 9-8. They were in the bottom of the 8th. They scored 6 runs in the second inning, and it looked like they were building an insurmountable lead. But this one became a game. And there's ball 4. The bases are loaded.
D. Strange Gordon also became a free agent. Went into camp with the Cincinnati Reds. You start to see some names that you know of guys that didn't make clubs. And then they have that tough decision to make. Would they want to go to the minor leagues? Older veteran players once the minor leagues actually start.
Yeah, that's another grind for those guys, those veteran guys. It's an unusually bad time to be caught in that position. No conversation done just as plate umpires Stu Sherwater got out to the mound.
I'd say another development from spring training that maybe didn't go the way that a lot of people had thought around the game. There was a bunch of young superstars, potential, I shouldn't say that's the wrong phrase, highly rated prospects that people thought could go be impactful at the big league level that did not make the team. And maybe one that is most interesting, we talked about a little bit, but Bobby Witt Jr. not making the team with the Kansas City Royals. Jared Kelenic, who was in the news quite a bit with the Seattle Mariners, came over in the Robinson Cano trade, did not make the team.
Was he in the news so much, or as much as
well,
front office personnel, the president?
Good point.
He was in the news.
But I tell you what, he's out there a little bit. He's not afraid to share his opinion. For a guy who has not reached the big leagues yet, looks like he's going to be a pretty good player. We'll see. Got to get up there and get it done first. So some of those big name prospects not making clubs. Nico Horner, even though he's already got some time in the big leagues here with the Cubs, we talked about him.
No, Josh Young, right? I mean, in a similar place. Injury derailed his spring training. Not that it necessarily was going to happen out of spring training, but your hope is still that you'll see him at some point. This guy, Steele Walker, is a guy we might see during the regular season this year. Part of the deal that sent Nomar Mazara to the White Sox a couple of seasons ago. And it comes up empty here, and that is the second out of the inning. All right, Davis Wenzel.
You know where Todd Frazier might end up? Make a little call here. The Washington Nationals. Talking about young players. Carter Kieboom, did not make their team. He was expected to be their third baseman this year. They just sent him down the other day. Unfortunately, no universal DH. That would have helped him. Right, that's 15 other teams for a guy like Todd Frazier.
Wenzel, the ground ball to short, and that one's thrown into right field. 1 run is in. 2 runs score, and it's now an 11-8 Rangers lead. All right, now there's a late inning break for the Rangers. Looked like that would end the inning.
Hey, watching this play unfold as you see Weber kind of looking down after the mistake. Watch how quickly he got rid of this ball, almost unnecessarily. You see, he had plenty of time to make that throw over to second base. And he rushed it a little bit. Got to tell you, though, from that angle, trying to figure out why the second baseman ducked. It looked like he might have had a shot, like a decent shot at that, unless he just was not anticipating a bad throw. On maybe the angle in which he was running towards second base is what threw him off.
No, Rangers picking up 3 runs in the inning.
All right, so we're getting deep. 19 runs, obviously, in this game. The box score is, I mean, I don't even try to keep up with the opponent in these situations. Near impossible. How many total players do you think have appeared in this game?
The 2 teams combined?
Yeah.
1, 2, 3, 6. 43.
And I would wonder, too, is it more than could actually... There's no way it would even be possible that something like this could happen during the regular season, right? 52 would be the max with 26-man roster. That means everybody gets in.
Yeah, why did I say 43? I'll go higher than that. I'll go 47. It's not that much higher, I guess, but...
It's a good guess. So I was asked to ask you that question.
Yeah.
So you'd think the person that would ask me to ask you that question would then tell me the answer. So I could
How
tell
many?
you.
How many do you think?
I mean, it's at least, I'll say 48.
I think that's low.
What do we got, Mike?
You just went over the top of me. 51.
Bueller, anybody?
51.
Oh, he told you 51?
Yeah.
So that's interesting. He told me to ask you, and then he didn't tell me the answer. He told you the answer.
Well, after he had kind of gotten sideways with you, he befriended me.
Well, he's got to call me out, then I'm not going to tell him. 51.
Yeah.
One shy of what you would be capable of doing in the regular season. Yeah. The Tampa Bay Rays are not impressed. They could do that themselves.
Well, 3 runs across. A couple of walks this inning have factored in nicely for the Rangers.
Well, here's the deal. I mean, we know we're going to 52. New pitcher next inning for sure.
Yeah, they'll probably get a pinch hitter or 2.
Oof.
Maybe a defensive change or 3. And we get it up 60. Half an inning to play. It's a mess. I just stop. Usually at a certain point in the game.
You did mention, so PR guys, right? Matt's taking care of it today. They'll send us text during the game, try to keep everybody up to date. Sometimes text from both clubs will come through to make sure that we have the changes and everything else that we can't see right now. And I don't mean to rub this in people's faces, but the MLB research site that we have access to, which I don't think is for public consumption, also does a really good job.
Oh, really?
Yeah, they have it all in there.
Oh, I assumed that it would be a mess everywhere, so I don't even bother. It's good to know with one more spring training broadcast left on the schedule, though. Well, Yanni Hernandez has had a tough day at the plate, but a chance here to bring home a couple. And he'll draw the walk to load the bases instead. And get the 9th hitter of the inning to the plate. Not a visit, but a pitching change.
52.
So, yeah, there you go. We're at 52. It's so exciting. I can't wait. All right, but we're going to take a little break, prepare ourselves for it. We'll be back in a minute.
We think it matters where meat gets its start, like a pasture, serving grass a la carte. Hand cut to grill like a pro. Well marbled and juicy. Whoa. At Whole Foods Market, we raise our meat right. Show-stopping taste in every bite.
My car is my after-work decompression zone. So when my windshield broke, I found the experts at Safelite Auto Glass. They have exclusive technology and service I can trust.
Safelite Repair, Safelite Replace.
Going camping?
No, I'm going off the grid. I just can't handle having my life dictated by my credit score.
You do know about Credit Sesame, right?
That sounds like just another free credit score thing.
Credit Sesame is so much more than a free credit score. Credit Sesame gives you the power to take control of your credit and just think about all you can do with great credit.
So I don't have to drop off the grid. Don't touch that!
Download Credit Sesame for free today.
Hey, look at this, new Kit Kat thins. They taste like Kit Kats and they are thin. Creamy and crispy and they are thin. You can see why we call them Kit Kat thins.
I'm Draymond Green with my Subway sub with tender steak and melty cheese.
My sub is gonna dunk all over your sub.
Excuse me?
My sub has bacon.
Choose better, be better, and now save when you order in the app. Subway, eat fresh.
But not Jason sub.
Spring Training 2021. Coverage continues on MLB Network.
Imagine no possessions. I wonder if you can. No need for greed or hunger. A brotherhood of man. Imagine all the people sharing all the world. You may say I'm a dreamer, but I'm not the only one. I hope someday you'll join us, and the world will live as one.
Rangers Insider will debut tomorrow, 6 o'clock. Get a preview of the 2021 season. See how close they get to predicting the opening day lineup.
All right, so this is kind of cool for me right here. So this is Jace Easley that's hitting right now. Rangers took him in the 5th round, 2018, son of Damian Easley, longtime big leaguer, currently a hitting coach. I believe he's a hitting coach with the San Diego Padres. He's a head hitting coach or assistant, but a coach with the Padres. Jace was born when I played with Damian during the season in 1999.
Wow.
And actually, my oldest son was also born that same year. So just kind of cool. We played together for a little while longer after that as well. But, oh, man, I mean, it makes you feel old.
So you've got like 5 guys still playing who were teammates of yours at one point in your career.
Oh, yeah, at least that.
And then you've got the offspring of some of your teammates also playing.
Oh, well, let me tell you, when the offspring and then facing offspring, which I've done as well,
oh my goodness,
is also awkward. The first time when Prince Fielder was on his way up and I was on my way out.
He easily just drove in a run. Bases loaded walk.
Nice. It's wild, man. It's cool to see. But yeah, faced Prince. He's a young minor leaguer. Of course, played with his dad. Lance Parrish's son. Got to face him in the minor leagues, his son David. Now, Lance was a coach, not a teammate.
That is pretty crazy. Well, Bubba Thompson scored a run earlier in the inning. See, 1, 2, 3, 4 walks in the inning and an error. And there's a strike. Check on that check swing. He didn't go. Well, this young man, Manuel Rodriguez, the new pitcher for Chicago. Fouled away. It's 2-2. 5th year in the Cubs organization. They found him in the Mexican Professional League, and It's an interesting league. You know, for years and years and years, guys have played down there and largely not been picked up by major league organizations. But I feel like in recent years we've seen a handful more who have made their way, and Manuel Rodriguez gets the final out of the inning. But the Rangers retake the lead. Now let's see if they can finish this thing off when we come back.
We don't want to overhype the return of the Quesalupa's cheese stuffed shell, so we're skipping the theatrics.
Oh, man.
Well, we were skipping the theatrics. Anyway, the Quesalupa from Taco Bell is back, and we think you'll like it.
Walter, did you know Geico could save you hundreds on car insurance and a whole lot more? So what are you waiting for? World's strongest man, Martins Litzis, to help you break down boxes?
What am I gonna do to you, Box? Let me break it down for you. Oh! You're going down! Down to the recycling center!
Hey, thanks, Martins.
You're welcome.
Geico. Switch today and see all the ways you could save.
I have a plan for retirement.
For college savings.
For investing,
I can see all of my accounts and my investments.
all my investments and more in one place.
I feel good about my finances.
Get free financial tools or talk to an advisor. Personal Capital.
Spring is finally here, and you're just itching to upgrade your stuff. The best way to do that is in a new Hyundai, like the Santa Fe with an available class-exclusive digital smartphone key and loads of the latest technology. Drive your upgrade home instead of having it delivered, although we can do that too during the Hyundai Spring Upgrade event.
Get 0% APR for 60 months on select vehicles, plus 0 payments for 90 days. Hurry, sale ends soon.
Searching for meaning in a relentless world, always connected, but somehow alone, trapped by illusion. We offer another path, where the battle to belong begins. Awakened by a calling, united by the cause you fight for. No one can take away what it means to be among the few, the proud, the Marines.
Ninth inning, and Hans Kraus, the hard-throwing right-hander, and he misses upstairs for a ball. Now, he has not pitched above single-A level. Of course, missed all of last year. So he'll probably be back to the minor leagues. He'll definitely be back to the minor leagues and try to corral some of that heat he's got. Rangers drafted him in June of 2017 out of Dana Hills High School in California. Second round pick. He falls behind 3-0. Rangers with a 4-run lead here in the ninth. And that one misses as well. So a 4-pitch walk.
Shortstop, number 83, Andy Weber.
All right, Andy Weber will be the hitter. Cubs, I noticed, let's see if I have this correct, with a record 14-8-4. Like, it's pretty good. They're tied with the Royals for the best record in the Cactus League. It's the second time the Rangers and Cubs have played this spring. Cubs won the earlier contest in a shutout, I think. It was like 9-0. It was a 7-inning shutout back at the beginning of spring competition. Well, 6 straight misses for Kraus to start the outing, and that will get him a visit.
There are 6 teams right now in spring training. You want to talk about a good-for-nothing stat. 6 teams in spring training right now that have 5 ties.
Ooh.
I mean, And I know it happens in spring training anyway, but my goodness. Consider you have 3 ties in your closet, 5 ties for the White Sox this year.
Well, there's more of them than there are of me.
And the Mariners, good point. Marlins, Dodgers, Giants, and Diamondbacks.
Runner goes. There's a strike, 2-1.
So that's actually 7.
7 teams with 5 or more ties?
Yeah, with 5. Exactly 5.
Nobody with 6 ties?
Believe that crap?
I've been trying.
Has anybody ever really done a study as far as those win-loss records?
Correlating to regular season? I think it's been done, and I think they found that there is no correlation to anything. All right, fly out to Steele Walker. And that is out number 1.
So you're not excited about the Blue Jays' 15 wins or the Boston Red Sox and their 15 wins?
No, but I do think there is a kind of a place you want to be in spring training. I don't think you want to be, 16-7 in spring training.
Yeah.
I don't think you want to be 4-21 in spring training either. I think you want to be 500. That would be my goal every year in spring training. It'd be an even 500.
I think you'll take a little pleasure in this. The worst record in spring training right now, 6-14 and 3. Houston Astros.
6 wins. They've been trying.
Fire sale.
Now, I wonder about, this Cubs team has hit a lot of home runs. Had 39 coming in, which was 3rd most in the Cactus League. Trailing the Royals and Brewers, who led Cactus League with 43 home runs. Does that mean anything? Can you expect those 3 teams to hit a lot of home runs this year because of what we've seen?
I would say no on that one, especially because we're in Arizona. I mean, same thing, right? It's good to see. I guess it would stick out a little bit more for some of those teams in Florida. But do we think the Milwaukee Brewers are going to lead baseball in home runs this year? They're tied for 44, tied for first with 44 overall.
Wouldn't be my guess.
Will Christian Yelich bounce back? That's a big question in Milwaukee.
It is a question. Yeah, it's a fair question. Another walk. Tom Krause having a rough go of it here. He had a couple of A-game appearances back in early March on the 3rd and the 10th. And his first one on March 3rd against the Angels didn't go real well. 3rd of an inning, he walked 2, gave up a home run. Bounced back a week later and pitched better against Seattle. But so, you and I talk a lot about these games and what they don't mean, right? I mean, guys just trying to get through it, be healthy. But for certain guys, and Krause might be one of them, he has a kind of a temperament that is a little more pedal all the way down to the floor. It probably is a big deal to him right now. Pop up into right field. 2 gone.
Absolutely for him. Wants to throw well in spring training, wants to make sure he is making that impression on the coaching staff. And a big part of that, your stuff is one thing, and there are a lot of players and a lot of pitchers that have great stuff these days, right? Great fastballs, breaking balls, all of it. The velocities are off the chart. They want to see you pitch. You can't separate yourself anymore, really, with velocity in life on your pitches, because everyone seems to have it for the most part. So it's the ability to show that you can pitch is really important. And listen, coming into these spring training games when you're young and you're trying to make an impression can bring on some anxiety, some nervousness with them. And he looks like he might be overthrowing a little bit. This is his third A-game appearance this year.
Oh, it's another pop-up. That should do it. And it does. So, a scoreless ninth inning for Krause.
Spikes, and so doing that for multiple days in a row.
First pitch is up and in to Whit Merrifield. One of the faster players in baseball. So you see Story at shortstop shortened up a little bit.
Has to. You know, think about the last two leadoff hitters we've seen, both coming out of the same division in the American League Central. Yesterday was Tim Anderson, and then today it's Whit. And this is what